It gives a little bit of drama involved there. All right, now let's get that in there. All right.
It's a pretty cool thing.
All right.
And scene one, take one.
And three.
Scene one, take
two.
Take 30.
One. We're starting. We're live. Gentlemen, Nick, Jeremy.
Hello.
Hi. We this is our first Indaba where we're out of the lab and we're into the distillery. So it's out of the frying pan and into the fire.
Oh, absolutely.
How bad is this one going to get? So I mean, this Indaba sort of came about because of an Indaba I had with Janice. Mm-hmm. Dude, you got your mask on. Okay, if you want to keep it on, it's fine. Oh yeah, last time we were on.
Sure. I thought it's audio only. That's why.
No, it's no. Well, I had an Indaba with Janice, and we were talking about the different sort of viable businesses, at least within the food industry here in Hong Kong, and she mentioned distilling. And this is something that's always been on my mind for, well, not always, but for a long period of time. I'd love to have my own whiskey, so I did a bit of research, and lo and behold, someone over here in Hong Kong has got a Carl still. And I thought, right, I have to meet you guys. Absolutely have to meet you guys. I need to know what your story is. I want to know how you guys came about to bring this still here into Hong Kong, and tell us about your gin and where do we start?
I mean, thank you for having us. Actually, this whole story is actually quite. It took quite a few years actually for Jeremy and I. We started actually talking about the whole concept of even having a distillery or even just having our own gin brand back in 2017. Mm-hmm. That was actually just a general catch-up between the two of us. We were actually drinking beer at the time. Oh. So not a gin and tonic, but a beer. And then at the time I was in between jobs, and so we were thinking of what are the viable or are there any interesting opportunities around in Hong Kong that's worthwhile in exploring, right? So that's when we actually, after a few drinks, we came up with the idea, hey, wouldn't it be cool to own your own gin brand, right? Because we are really big fans of gin.
Oh, you guys were into the Hendrix and all that?
Yeah, I mean, Hendrix maybe a long time ago, but then we kind of moved on to craft gins like a couple of years ago. Right. And then we started talking about the idea of starting a gin brand, whether it be OEM from elsewhere or even starting a distillery in Hong Kong, which is a very, very big step. Since no one has ever really done it before in Hong Kong. So except for the the really old Chinese rice wines and stuff.
Right.
That's been done, but they've kind of moved on from, I guess, Hong Kong to China or elsewhere. So in terms of Western spirits, there's never anyone who's done this before. So we thought, hey, why don't we start exploring? And that's when we actually, after a few beers and the hangovers, whatever, and that's when we moved on to do some research, in terms of distilling in general, the topic of distillation. Whether that's doable in Hong Kong, all the regulatories, the issues and everything. That definitely took us quite a while. And at the same time, we also went to different places, including, I guess, Australia. We also worked in a micro distillery in Scotland.
Let's go slowly, step by step. How did you hear about this this Australian group of people? I mean, did you both fly out there together? Or
no, so actually, Australia was just myself. Because I was going to Melbourne anyway that time. I spent a little bit of time studying back in Melbourne, so we were dealing with some family apartments back then over there, so we had to go over. And I thought, hey, I might as well use this chance to talk to some, distilleries around there, or the people who know a little bit more about distilling in general. Yeah. So I went to Melbourne and Tasmania to run around a few, driving by myself, running around a few distilleries, and all of them are actually very kind, the people, especially You know, Forpulus and Gin, especially, you know, they were very kind. There were a few more distilleries.
Are they like a major distillery in Australia?
Yeah, so Forpulus is actually quite a big brand. It has won Gin Distillery of the Year in the IWSC before, and I think this year they also nominated for that award as well.
Okay.
So they're a very, very big brand in terms of a very, well-known and high-quality gin brand.
Yeah.
So you know, it's just in the outskirts of Melbourne, so it's only a 2.5 hour drive or an hour and a half, you know, around there. So I gave them a cold email, like, you know, ask Cameron, who is the head distiller there, you know, can I come, you know, check it out and see, you know, how you guys do things, learn a little bit more about distillation, and I guess the setup of the distillery in general. So they were very kind, you know. We talked for, like, he gave me a private tour basically for an hour, talking a little bit more about how, you know, the key points or key notes of setting up distillery. Of course, they let me try some of their amazing gins and everything, you know, to give me some inspiration and all. So, you know, that's only one of the distilleries, but also in Australia there were quite a few that I went to as well, not just gin, but also whiskey distilleries as well. Because, you know, Australia, you know, although they're famous for their wines, they actually have quite a lot of distilleries popping up right now. Some very famous whiskey distilleries, including Sullivan's Cove, which won Whiskey of the Year previously in Tasmania. So, you know, it was quite an experience, and at least I took a little bit of a preliminary sort of view or position as to whether we can actually do this in Hong Kong. And then obviously after Australia, we had to do a little bit more study in the books and everything before we, you know, embarked on a trip to Scotland, where we worked.
No, both of you went to Scotland,
yes,
is that right?
Both of we went to Scotland for a month, working in a micro distillery.
Oh, right.
Yeah. In Perth, in Scotland. So we learned to make gin and whiskey in general.
Yeah.
And then more importantly, actually, that was we learned a little bit more about how a distillery is actually run. So, you know, working in a distillery, you know, there are so many different aspects. Obviously, production is only one small part of it, but you know, running the setup, the running, you know, there's packaging, there's marketing, there's sales, of everything together.
Maintenance.
Yeah, absolutely.
All sorts of things.
Cleaning is a very important. Yeah, it's a very important component of that.
You're like, oh, God damn it, I didn't think about that when we started this. It's like,
We're in this.
Can we swear in there? No.
oh yeah, totally. Yeah. There's
There's no
yeah,
sense.
The podcast is okay.
yeah. The less PC, the better. So yeah, I mean, okay. So you went over to Scotland, Perth, and what distillery was it? Was it?
It's a very, very small distillery.
Oh, just like a group of guys.
Just because, you know, the big guys won't really.
Yeah.
Even if you go there, you probably.
Fuck off. What do you want?
Exactly. Even if they let you work there, it would take one day walking from one end to the other. So.
Oh my God, is it that bad?
Yeah. So the micro distilleries actually, because what they do are, you know, some more boutique stuff.
Yeah.
You know, they do different kinds of things. So, in a smaller scale, so the process is, I guess, less lengthy. And that allows us to see more different kinds of things. So
yeah, but gin is a less lengthy process than whiskey, isn't that?
I mean, a distillation process, yes, as well. Not to mention, obviously, whiskey. For whiskey you need maturation.
Yeah.
For at least 3 years. Obviously,
Yep.
you know, Scotch you have 10, 15, 18 years, but.
And in Scotland.
Yeah,
you have to do
Scotland,
that in Scotland.
Absolutely. And in Scotland, for it to be called a Scotch, right? But gin, you can actually do distillation, I guess, within a day. But you know, there's an option for you to actually mellow out the spirit, you know, let it sit for, I guess, a month or two.
Yeah.
You know, but that's up to the distillery whether they want to do that. I know distilleries that don't do that, so, you know, they can literally, you know, distill and bottle in the same day. You know, very, very quick process. Yeah. And, you know, it's very common, right? Because gin is absolutely... it's a lot of the whiskey distilleries make gin in order to maintain cash flow, because, you know, obviously.
Yeah.
whiskey
Okay,
is unique.
so in other words, the gin could be seen as like a cash cow.
Yeah.
I
mean, like it's just a quicker return of cash,
Keep your
right?
cash going.
Okay.
Yeah. The margin wouldn't be as high as whiskey, obviously,
Okay.
but then
Okay.
gin is just quicker production, quicker money inflow. That kind
So
of
you
thing.
guys are looking at well, first of all, getting the gin side of things working, and then maybe later on you'd be like looking at different sorts of booze, because I know that beast behind you can do a hell of a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean,
But
like,
there's other stuff, like for example, the barrels and
yeah, of course.
maybe you want to give us like a high level intro into like the different sort of alcohols that can be made with this, and
Yeah,
the audience are also not afraid to get technical,
Of
so
course.
you can really nerd out
so
if you want.
the still that we're looking at, I'm not sure if I'm covering any of it.
Oh no, yeah, okay, no, that's good. You can
Yeah, I
move.
should do
Yeah,
that.
you see those great lunking
I should-
shoulders.
yeah.
There we go.
Yes. do that.
Flexing.
So this still here is actually a Christian Carl still, as you mentioned. It's a very Christian Carl is a very famous still maker
Right.
from Germany. So they are actually responsible for the stills for quite a few famous distilleries around the world, including Four Pillars, which I just mentioned. Sip Smith, Kyoto Distillery, which is responsible for the Kinobi gin. And then this, we're lucky to have them customize a still for us.
Okay.
It's a 220 liter hybrid hot column still. The reason why
What is okay?
yeah, the reason why we call that is actually because the left side is a pot. It's actually a pot,
Okay.
right? And the second column is, as you can see, the 3 plates. That's a plate column.
All right.
So usually when you talk about stills, there are 2 main kinds, which is a pot still or a column still.
Okay.
But here we have a hybrid. These are one of the more modern stills that are more suitable for, I guess, more flexible distilling. Whatever spirits you want to make or character you want to make. You can adjust the configuration of the still itself. As to controlling what sort of things pass through the columns in terms of the whole distillation process.
Okay. So the pot still. Okay. So that's the one. That's the thing on the left.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a hybrid.
Yeah.
But there's a great big sort of like a chamber at the top. That's the reflux chamber. Is that correct?
Yeah. So on top of the plate, you mean?
No, I'm on the left,
On
on
the
the
left,
the
on the
pot
left.
side.
On
They
the
got a
pot-
great
on the pot
big
side.
bulbous
Yeah.
thing.
Oh,
Is
right,
that a
right.
reflux
So-
chamber?
so-
And what
so-
is?
So that's
is-
a helmet. That's a helmet.
It's a-
It's
a helmet.
partly. It is a helmet. So there are a lot of different shapes in those for helmets, right? So this is a limbic helmet. You get a more fancy or more round shaped or different kinds of shapes. So
Okay.
you're right in saying that is part of a reflux process, and by reflux we actually mean a circulation process where alcohol evaporates and then condense back into liquid
Okay.
when it encounters temperature difference.
Yeah.
So it has a way of rectifying the spirit and purifying the spirits,
Okay.
making it a little bit more smooth in a
Yeah.
way, right? So as we can talk a little bit more about the whole distillation process later, but
Okay.
this still here is a very flexible configuration. So we can just use the pot part and skip the column parts. We can skip multiple parts actually, not just a column. The third little column, the stainless steel looking thing there, that's called a botanicals basket. So inside that particular chamber, you actually have steel baskets inside where what we usually do inside is called a vapor infusion, where you pass alcohol vapor through certain botanicals,
Right.
and at that point in time, the alcohol vapor may absorb some of the more subtle flavors from the botanicals in the baskets.
So just so people know, botanicals is like the different fruit.
Oh yeah, well,
fruit
different
I mean,
fruits,
like when I
herbs
first
and
came across
spices,
this, when I first came across, I was like, "What's a botanical?" I'm like,
Let's just make it more technical.
Yeah, no,
We're just trying to more
no.
pretentious.
Yeah, that's true.
Just
It's
kidding.
fine. Let's sift aside. Let's get these terminology. So what I understand a botanical is to be the set of ingredients that one chooses to infuse into your gin.
Correct.
Like juniper is.
So yeah, it could be anything, right? It
Yeah.
could be fruits, it could be herbs and spices and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, juniper berries is one of them. Obviously, the most important ingredient of gin. Obviously, there are a few different kinds of botanicals that if we want to go into later on,
Right.
when we talk a little bit more about the gin, we can do that as well.
Yeah, sure.
So, you know, usually when a lot of times, what we actually put in the botanicals basket are the more subtle touches we want in a gin.
Yeah.
Or if you encounter some ingredients that are really not that doesn't really behave well in high heat, for example, because in the pot side, obviously it's high heat as well, like it's constantly boiling it, right?
Okay.
But on the other side, just passing vapor through. So you know, the more delicate stuff would work better on a botanicals basket as well. So you can put that in the botanicals basket instead of the pot. So
Okay.
it's kind of a flexible setup here for gin distilling.
Right.
But at the same time, this kind of still you can also do different kinds of spirits as well. I mean, if we have the right other equipment, I guess if you have a wash, a whiskey wash, you can actually distill whiskey. You can make rum as well.
A whiskey wash. Why do you say you need a whiskey wash? I mean,
As in like a fermented wash.
but don't you have something like that already there? Is
No,
it
no,
like
I
a
mean-
separate container or what?
No. So for example, in order to make a wash, you basically need.
What is a wash, first of all?
Wash, exactly. So in order to get a wash, you basically need your malted barley. You
Okay.
gotta, obviously you got to do.
Isn't that called a mash?
mash wash? It's
Okay.
pretty much-
Interchangeable?
yeah, wash. I mean, the fermented. Well, there are
Okay.
different terminologies. Mash wash, I think it's
Okay.
quite equivalent to each other.
Okay.
So a wash and mash. You hear mash tuns every now and then as well. So
I see.
but then what comes out usually can be called a wash as well. So obviously you have malted barley. You have to go through a whole process in terms of fermentation and everything. The resulting mixture, which is the wash, we can distill it. That's actually a more whiskey distillation process.
Okay.
For gin, we don't go through that particular process because we use neutral spirits, which is completely flavorless, smellless. It's pure, basically ethanol and water.
Yep.
In that way, we can actually full on inject the flavors as we want. So, for example, because if we use a wash from whiskey, if you distill it with a lot of whiskey character in it, your resulting gin, even if you put a lot of different botanicals inside, it will have that whiskey character.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason why a lot of distillers or distilleries use neutral spirits around the world is that they can control easier the flavors of each particular batch. I put this particular proportion of botanicals inside.
I see.
I can control exactly because it's a flavorless spirit, and I'm flavoring it through a distillation process.
So it just makes it easier to have a stable product that your
Correct.
customers come to know, love, and expectations are not broken, kind of thing. I see. So, but you could, if you wanted to, do the whole alcohol, ethanol, water. Base spirit thing
it'll
yourself,
be,
right?
Yeah, I mean, like
But
we
it's
could.
just going to add more.
It's a lot more equipment, a lot more space,
right.
and also bigger mess.
Yeah.
Bigger mess, and also you need bigger equipment as well. Right now, you see this thing, 220 liters. This is quite small, considered.
Oh, really?
If you go to distilleries around the world,
Okay. Yeah.
not talking about huge whiskey distilleries. I'm talking about like maybe just some gin distilleries.
Okay.
So 220 liters is considered quite a small still. Four pillars, for example, they have a 600 and a 1,000 and a 450. They have 4 stills. The smallest one is like a 70 liter, but that's like a test still. But all in all, they have more than like 2,000 liters of production capacity just from the size of the pot.
Wow.
Right. So they have something huge.
Do you
going
guys ever fancy yourselves being scaling up to that point at some point?
Of course.
If we have the money, then definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
That's something that we have to, I guess, slowly, hopefully as soon as possible work into building, but
One step at a time.
one step at a time, right? So, right now we're trying to get this idea into the heads of everyone,
Yeah.
which honestly hasn't been quite easy because it's
Well,
quite interesting
We've
timing.
got the pandemic, right?
Yeah, I mean, like we got.
One would think it is actually conducive towards drinking, you know?
Yeah, well,
Being
like
stuck
you
at
know,
home, it's like, oh, bloody hell. The drudgery, the boredom of life.
Yes, absolutely.
Let me go order some of that gin.
Please. But yes and no, because you know, given the current situation, all the bars, restaurants, and hotels aren't really that active and
Yeah.
trying new stuff, or they for a long period of time they aren't even allowed to open. So it's a pity that way, because I think a project like this, when we started it, we thought it could really take off.
Yeah.
It will be quite receptive amongst the restaurants, bars, and hotels, as well as the people who drink at home.
Mm-hmm.
But we kind of had an arm chopped off sort of way over the past 9 months. I mean, it's an unfortunate situation that no one could have foreseen. But that's exactly why we haven't been able to, I guess, fully utilize, the whole facility, or fully understand how good this project could be. I mean, we're surviving in a way that, of course, as you said, people are drinking at home, but there's still a huge chunk that is missing.
Massive chunk.
Yeah, massive chunk.
And I think after things, well, we're looking at the fourth wave that's starting to kick in now. We got like 18 infections yesterday.
Yeah.
So, like.
I mean, hopefully it doesn't go too overboard, and
Yep.
yeah. I mean, it's a very interesting period of time. It's challenging, but we're also optimistic if we can actually get through this particular period.
Mm-hmm. Now there's the fourth pillar.
Yeah.
The one on the right. What? That's not. Is that also a botanical?
No. So the fourth column is actually a condensation tower. So it's
Yes, of
basically-
course. I know that
yeah,
already. Damn it.
It's cold water.
It's cold water. Yes.
So basically, what
Yes.
happens is vapor, encounters cold temperature, it condenses back into liquid,
Yes.
and that's when
Yes.
we collect our products. Down there, you see
Yeah.
the little glass thing over there.
Yeah, that little glass thing is there's a sort of a bounty thing. I don't know what's
no,
ADD.
it's not.
What's it called?
No, it's not. It's just for covering up the product when it overflows from the you have of course there are what those called safe box. I forgot the name because we don't have it in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Some countries require you to actually lock the receiving part
Lock it.
because it's tax reasons. Tax
The
reasons.
different reasons.
Sorry, excuse me. I don't fully understand. Okay, so there's the receiving part is where the water comes out and into the main container.
No, I mean as a gin comes out, the spirit comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
it's a spirit safe. Yes.
You mean-
safe.
so you have to put it into a spirit safe,
Correct.
because some customs agent somewhere
Yeah.
deems that is the thing
They
that
don't
you
let
need
you
to.
they don't let you take out the spirits
The
without.
different reasons
Yeah.
why to lock that that part.
I would love to know all the different reasons because it sounds like bureaucracy.
No, it's a very common
theft?
thing. I think. Yeah, theft.
Okay, so you don't want your staff getting nicely.
Exactly. So usually when you see the bigger distilleries around, I guess more in Scotland,
Okay.
Germany,
All right.
they have spirit safes because people operate. You don't want them
Yeah,
drinking all your alcohol.
I would totally do that.
Yeah, that's why you're not working here.
You've tried.
You're not working here.
and obviously because it's a regulated space as well, so people, all the yields they have to keep.
It's gone.
Right,
Yeah.
So you have to kind of
Yeah.
safeguards
Sure.
the product
That's the
yield
product.
and everything.
Yeah. That's it.
So-
Okay. So then.
But we don't have that. We're micro-distilleries,
Yeah.
so it's a different.
Yeah. You
different
guys keep
story.
an eye on each other, right?
Yeah, no, trust me. When you start running a distillery, you probably stop drinking.
He's drinking right now.
Yeah. Well, there's no booze in that one, right?
That's lemon
That's
tea.
booze.
That's just lemon tea. Yeah. No. So don't necessarily you might regret like thinking of taking up doing this
No,
distillery.
it's
now you're like, fuck alcohol. Jeez.
No, it's good. I should
like-
stop drinking anyway, right?
Yeah, when I was 15 years old, I worked for an ice cream parlor. Ugh, ice cream. Ugh.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's changed. Okay, so you went after Scotland. You did a month's time.
Yeah, and we also obviously went around Scotland to visit different distilleries, big and small, Scotch, gin, everything.
Yeah.
Those were, quite a different experience.
Such an amazing experience. When my wife and I we got in we took those RV vehicles, those roaming vehicles kind of thing. We drove around Scotland for 8 days, and we went to the northwest side of Scotland. But during there, we went to a distillery. My God, it's really amazing to see this sort of thing. It's like massive. It's been going for like hundreds of years, right? They own the land. They've got this beautiful water source. They've got this, beautiful. It's rather envious. It makes me wonder, why don't you go to like New Zealand or something where for example distilling is free. I think there's only 2 places in the world where distilling, you don't have the government sort of breathing down your neck, and that's one is New Zealand, and the other one I think is Montana in United States. I'm not sure. Check me. But I mean, have you thought about going to New Zealand?
I mean, like we've actually thought about different places as well. Whether this project is something that we want to start in Hong Kong or actually start somewhere else.
Yeah.
But we believe that since we're from Hong Kong and our root is from Hong Kong, we've never seen a spirit really made from Hong Kong before. Yeah. Except for obviously the rice wines and everything. But we'd like to see one of our favorite spirits, being made in Hong Kong. So that's one of the reasons why we set up shop here in order to create something that's truly from Hong Kong. Obviously, there are brands that are from Hong Kong, but then they are from overseas. They're made in overseas, or the UK, different places.
And then just sort of like labeled here or something.
But that's a different story. Like we wanted to create something that's truly ours. Not just obviously from. There's also obviously quality control issues if you do it elsewhere, or if you do a gin elsewhere. It's hard to maintain the quality because they would distill for you, and then you would probably bring it over, and then if it's not of the same quality, it's really hard to just say no, I'm going to ship it back, and then that'll be like multiple rounds of taxes. So one of the reasons obviously is quality control, but at the same time the main objective of this, I think, is to create something that's truly from Hong Kong, because we love the city and we're from this city. We want to create something that we can hopefully represent Hong Kong with, a gin that has the flavors of Hong Kong, representative of Hong Kong, that kind of idea.
Well, I think you succeeded to a large degree, because on Tuesday, I think a few days ago, I came here, and you succeeded in getting me nicely on my walking out at an angle. But yeah, I mean, you the ingredients you've got in there are it's quite refreshing, but at the same time, it's like, hello. Yeah, that's the kind of thing you could see in a Hong Kong market kind of thing, you could sort of get that little taste of it.
Yeah, I mean, like, what we're trying to do here is to create something, well, for the first product anyway, we are trying to basically create something that is more on the traditional side, which is closer to a London dry gin, but at the same time, we wanted to incorporate some different flavors of Hong Kong into the gin as well, right? So, but at the same time, we wanted people to be able to taste the proper, I guess, the juniper berry side, which is the most important ingredient in the gin, and then then proceed on to different kinds of flavors. Given that we think that obviously gin is not a mainstream product in Hong Kong just yet, or a mainstream beverage. When you talk about alcohol, you have whiskey, beers, wines, whiskeys, sakes, that kind of thing, right? But gin is relatively new in the market, so as we penetrate the market and introduce to I guess a mass audience, especially the local side of the population, we want them to understand, I guess, what gin really is, or what juniper really tastes like. Not just looking for something that's completely distinctive or something that is that's something that just does not taste like gin anymore. So that's something that we wanted to create, so that once they understand, they will be more interested in the spirit. Not to mention, hopefully they can come up and visit us to see this and understand a little bit more about what gin.
You guys have made this still very approachable.
So the concept about the whole place right now is that obviously we want people to come up and visit. We can hold distillery tours. I guess not so much educate, but I guess share our passion, our knowledge on gin itself, how it's made, why do we think gin is such a great spirit, what can we use gin for, that kind of thing. We also slip in a little bit of history now and then, so that they can understand where gin came from.
We'll go into that. That sounds
Jesus,
kind of interesting.
Really?
or am I sort of like taking away from your distillery tour?
No, I mean I wouldn't go too deep into it, because that's like a whole different story. But in terms of
we've got plenty of time too. We've only been cracking on for half an hour.
I'd like to save some for the tour. If I was everything now,
nobody's going to come for the tour.
Nobody's going to come now. They're all going to watch this instead.
I just watch Stewart's podcast, and you still got the whole thing. There's no point coming. Except for the tasting part.
Yeah, exactly. That's the most important part. That's the most important part.
Yeah, no. So,
what is the history of gin? So how did it go back? I mean,
gin was actually created. Do you know where gin came from?
I don't.
Make a guess.
Probably Scotland. Probably the Scottish, who were just like, fuck this. I don't want to wait so long for the bloody whiskey. Let's just drink it up. And they're like, you know what? Actually, this is pretty good. We can do this.
That's a pretty good guess. But no. It's actually the Dutch who created it.
Oh, is it the Dutch? Oh, okay.
So, berry is actually like more medicinal, botanical than anything. Back in the days, it's good for heart, gout, whatever, that kind of thing. So drink more gin, right? So,
right. So it was a more medicinal sort of thing. So
it was actually
prescribed
created for
as a medicine?
medicinal purposes.
Is that so?
Yeah. Until it wasn't. Right. So it was.
Until it wasn't.
Yeah, until it wasn't. It was more for a good cause, and afterwards for even better cause.
Even better cause. Right.
The Dutch was the guys who created it. The UK was the guys who promoted it, or made it such a great spirit. Obviously, when you talk about gin, you always link to the UK. It's also back in the days, UK was ruled by Dutch royal, who promoted gin, drinking because of a patriotism or whatever, because of their Dutch background. And then one thing led to another. Obviously, he lowered the taxes, hurdles, production, everything, and gin became a very, very common beverage. Although quite a bad influence to the people, because it was so cheap. So everyone was just abusing the alcohol.
All right.
There was a whole story into that. Like, there were nicknames made of gin. Like, gin is a depressing spirit.
Is it?
It's called Mother's Ruin. All these kind of things. It went through a very bad patch.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Until the government stepped in and obviously made things better. I mean, gin went through a few periods where there were a few gin crazes before the gin renaissance and that kind of thing, right? So there are quite a few, different ways when you think about gin. From a history point of view, it's actually a bad thing. And then, time moved on, governments were able to control, I guess, the quality and the production hurdles of different distilleries. They set different benchmarks and everything, such that only large-scale distilleries could make gin. At the same time, obviously, that's guaranteeing the quality of the spirits that people are making, so that people aren't dying from it. So they're not drinking cheap stuff that is maybe fake or chemical, that kind of thing, right?
So there's a bunch of fake stuff going out.
Yeah,
there
exactly.
too.
Because it was so cheap, everyone's getting cheaper and cheaper. Everyone was making it themselves, So
yes. So during the distillation process, you get what the head, the heart, and the tails.
Correct. But that's a distillation process. You can actually make gin without going through a distillation process. that's exactly what happened back in the days.
Yes.
You can infuse a spirit with juniper berries, and then you can add whatever.
No, I was just
yeah.
imagining, because I thought the competition got so steep that they were just like, let's just put the head straight in there, and the head is...
No, it's not even that. At that point in time, I don't think distillation was the only way of making things. There are compound gins where you're basically mixing stuff.
Okay.
You can infuse. There's a bunch of different stuff. So it's not the best time for gin, because not everyone can afford a still. Not everyone can beat it.
Right.
People were making gin in the bathtubs, basically.
Oh, you can you?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
We just infuse.
Oh, you just take alcohol and then you just throw
you just
juniper
dump
berries
alcohol
and stuff,
there.
and then that's it.
Or flavorings or whatever.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
That sounds
it's
like
not a good time.
crass way. Yeah.
So the government stepped in, I guess, and controlled the quality and production hurdle, so that only distilleries with a certain production capacity could produce gin. That kind of controlled everything. And then, jumping forward, there was all the whole micro distillery, we're able to operate now because of one distillery called the Sipsmith.
Called the what?
Sipsmith.
Sipsmith.
Yeah, the brand Sipsmith. It's the
There's a
first
mind.
micro distillery in London that was able to open after all those, saga and all. Obviously, the government stepping in with the production capacity threshold and everything.
Right.
They were the first distillery to lobby to the government, saying that, hey, we should be able to make our own gin now. It's a different era. Come on, we should be able to hit. It took them 2 years to lobby to the government, and they were successful, so that they can distill below a preset threshold. So they started off with, I think, a 300-liter still. So it's relatively small. The production capacity threshold I'm talking about is tens of thousands per year.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
okay.
so that's a huge threshold in order to be distilling, right?
Okay.
But for micro distilleries, they can't really produce 10,000 or 20,000 liters per year. That's when this micro distillery, these guys had the idea and created the micro distillery, and they were the first one in 2009 to be able to do so. That's why you see now, the craft gin scene has exploded since then. So everyone could buy a small still and actually distill their own version of their own gin.
So we're gonna have, things come in waves. We're gonna have the next, Mother's Ruin period.
No.
of
I
societies
think
coming
I think right now the problem.
and you guys are forging the way here in Hong Kong.
No. I think right now, everyone is looking for good stuff, right? So when you make gin or make any kinds of spirits, you're looking for better quality.
That's
and obviously, manufacturers have better access to better quality ingredients. They don't at a reasonable price. They don't have to go really cut corners and put any kind of chemicals there. I mean, you're not going to make much out of that anyway. But rather, you want to create something that's really high quality. And then if you charge a reasonable price, I think people will be attracted to the product rather than, I want really cheap stuff. Because obviously the mass producers right now, they can provide really, really, really cheap gin if you want some. I mean, you're talking about a liter for $100, or even you could be 7-Eleven, you can get it for $70, whatever you get. But those are the more mass products, I guess, with a little bit more. It's more a standard issue. It's less concerned about different kinds of flavors, whereas for craft distilleries you can create different kinds of flavors that people may like personally. You can do something a little bit more, in terms of product type and everything, right? So, I think right now no one will actually go and cut corners and do whatever they were doing in the past. Yeah. So that's kind of a whole development of the past of what gin was like. In general.
Yeah. Then after the month of in the micro distillery, you thought, right, guys, this is it, we're gonna do it.
Yeah. No, I mean,
and then you contacted
Scotland,
Carl, that dude.
Yeah.
Did you actually go to Germany and?
No. It was email. Through obviously calls and emails and stuff.
Yeah, okay. And then measurements and whatnot, photographs.
Yeah, we had to give them sort of the standard restrictions of Hong Kong, I guess, because it's a little bit different in Hong Kong comparing to elsewhere. You have size restrictions. Obviously, real estate in Hong Kong is one of a kind in the world. So obviously, we have to measure everything quite safely, conservatively, and everything.
Okay.
And even now, when you see it, it's almost like sticking to the top.
Yeah, that's right. It's like there's not much. There's not much.
There's not much at all, and it's quite a stretch there.
Yeah.
When we built this still from ground up. So
I think it was during the pandemic when the still arrived. Is that right? And then nobody could help you.
No, it was actually because of the
delays,
renovation.
Some delays in renovation. That's why.
Here in this place. Yeah. Okay.
And we weren't able to, I guess, get the timetable right with the guys that were supposed to come.
And then you guys assembled that thing yourself.
Yeah. So what happened was we got a few.
First time, like okay, here we go.
we got a few photos from Carl. We had a Skype with them, but at the same time we also had to look at the photos and understand which pipe goes where.
Yeah, right.
And obviously we assembled it ourselves with the help of a few contractors. No, I mean like the
construction guys.
Renovation
guys.
They must have loved it actually. They must have enjoyed it. Be like, yeah, this is not
sure
really.
They loved it.
Really?
I was like, what the hell's going on? This thing is mighty heavy. It took us quite a few guys, strong guys actually as well, to lift it up. Onto that rail up there, because you see the three columns are on top of a rail, right? Those were on the ground before.
But they have no idea what's going on back then. Yeah. It was just the two of us. Okay, this go there, this go here, and I was like,
I see.
Yeah.
So that must have been
but,
quite.
You
dropped that thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
That will be
If we drop that thing, it will be pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah.
We almost dropped it actually.
Oh, did you? Oh my God.
It was too heavy. I mean,
one of the tallest columns that tilted.
Basically tilted. And
so it was falling, and lucky there was a guy on the other side who was pushing. It was like, oh.
Guys, I need help. Guys, I need help. It's falling over.
Yeah. So it's quite an experience, I think. But,
right. You don't need to repeat
we are happy to say that this is working fine now. It has not exploded. There's no problem with it. Absolutely safe.
No, but
we
I
have
mean,
to emphasize.
but there's a lot of misunderstandings about stills. People think that these things can be dangerous. Actually, they're safe as houses. They're safe as houses.
I think it's a pretty safe device. Given
like
that.
if you don't clean it and you start getting gunked up and stuff like that, then high pressure maybe then. But even then.
But
we have a lot of safety.
A lot of safety valves.
We have a lot of safety. The systems, features.
Yeah. Okay.
Everything. It stops if something like that happens, which it shouldn't, because we are actually distilling gin. So there's no like debris or anything. It's just pure vapor. Yeah. There's no like anything that's going to go past the pipes and everything. It doesn't really deposit or anything.
Do stills do that? Does gunk get into the pipelines and whatnot?
It shouldn't. It shouldn't.
Even with whiskey in this situation.
Obviously, with whiskey, there's foam. When there's foam, there's a possibility that it will happen. But there are things in place. For example, they will have choppers, like they'll cut the foam.
Oh, keep it down. Okay.
So that the foam won't rise up over the still.
Right,
I mean, if you do that, your batch is ruined anyway. You stop distilling anyway. Okay. Because when that happens, you kind of ruin the end product.
Okay.
Like completely. Okay. So it's not worth going on.
Yeah.
With the distillation.
Yeah. But in this situation, like I've seen stills where they do we do the alcohol process where the yeast eats the sugar and converts it into alcohol. What's that called? Fermentation. Thank you. Okay, so is that chamber also a fermentation chamber?
No. So usually
so you need a separate chamber.
We don't have that.
Okay.
We don't plan to ferment anything here.
Okay.
That's a whole different animal as well. That you need tall equipment. You need big equipment because it doesn't really make sense fermenting like a very small amount of mash or wash or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Because at that point in time, you are talking about low ABV. When
ABV?
you low alcohol by volume.
Okay.
So basically, you're producing alcohol, but usually through a fermentation process, you can only produce around 8%. Alcohol by volume.
But isn't it after the stage that you start distilling and then you get much higher
Correct.
ABV?
So if you have a small fermentation tank,
right,
for example, 200, for 8% to be distilled to 30-something%,
right,
you'll cut a lot of things. So
Yeah.
you probably get like a very, very little quantity of 30% alcohol. And then when you start distilling to, I guess, 60% for maturation, that's for whiskey making, by the way. Then you'll have like an even smaller amount.
Sure.
Because the water will strip off, you'll get the alcohol. So you need big fermentation tanks that are usually like a couple of levels high. So I haven't figured out how that's gonna go in Hong Kong. I mean, obviously you need a very big space for that. So unfortunately, right now we are focusing on gin. Yeah. But if we want to do that, we'll probably need a bigger place. Or
move out of, go up north towards like new territories kind of thing. But then you could also like think about growing your own rye or barley.
In Hong Kong?
Really?
Up north, why not? Why not?
Farming in Hong Kong?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, can be.
I mean, you can. I mean, like, that will need some serious investment.
Yeah.
Like big bucks. Not at the moment.
Can I do my own still here in Hong Kong? I mean, talking about a small one to make a small little bottle of something. Is that possible? Are you telling me that I have to pay money to the government to run a tiny little still?
Now that's a very tricky question.
I'm detecting an element of reservation on both of you.
I guess you need a license for that. I mean,
you're kidding me. So I have to pay 22,700 Hong Kong dollars per year for a small little still.
I mean, you're not allowed to.
They will never know.
I don't know.
Well, now I just busted myself.
Now I can't really say that you can, because we got the license to do it here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I
just inappropriate too.
It's all right. Don't encourage competition. Just
no,
buy my
drink water, right?
It's not even that. It's not even about creating competition. It's just there is a particular interpretation or the legal side of things that says.
Oh yes, you're a lawyer. You're a lawyer.
You need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna stop there because on the letter you need a license to distill in Hong Kong.
That's it. Period.
If you plan to bottle,
then you got to manufacture, right?
Correct.
That's a manufacturer's license. Something else.
Yeah. There are a lot of different licenses.
It looks like a freaking minefield.
Long process. And
Do you guys have more? I saw that there's like 4 different licenses. Do you have like more than one of those licenses, or is it just the distilling license?
Oh, we have a few licenses.
Oh Jesus!
We need to go through. Obviously, it's a very complicated process, and we are heavily monitored actually in this place. So
okay. All right.
From different government authorities.
So you'll have the different government authorities just come knocking on the door and say hi.
Yeah.
Here to do a check. Random flight spot checks.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Whoa, that's fun. Oh God.
We love it.
Yeah. Gotta love it.
Love it. I mean, it's okay. They're easy to work with.
Oh, okay. Well, if that's the case, then that's fine. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
On camera, it's different, huh? Just kidding.
Yeah, keep the smiles, man. Keep the smiles going.
They are mostly very helpful. Let's put it that way.
Helpful.
Helpful. Yeah.
You mean at pocketing the money, or?
No.
No.
Helpful
in facilitating the whole thing. I mean,
what? Just to make sure you get more licenses, or?
I mean, it's.
Well, how can they help you?
It is what it is.
How can they help you?
It is what it is, right? So, the law is a law, and every country or every place has a law. So,
All right.
it also in terms of facilitating.
He's sticking up for his legal system.
He's a lawyer right now.
There's always a space for it. Get real people.
I mean, no, I'm just saying, like every country has a law, good or bad, it's still a law, right? So if you contravene a particular law, it's contravening that law, right?
Yeah.
So the law could be stupid, the law could be whatever, anywhere. I'm sure a lot of countries, they have different kinds of laws or rules or regulations that people don't agree with, but it is what it is. So it is what it is in Hong Kong. We have these systems in place, but it's down to whether the government officials are helpful in facilitating the process.
Okay.
I mean, like, so they have been quite receptive of the idea, let's to say the least, because this is completely new. They needed time to digest it.
Okay.
They needed time to understand it, because obviously not a lot of people understand what this is about.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but at the same time, they are willing to facilitate the process in general.
Okay. Good.
I mean, they could. I mean, I'm sure.
Shut you down
I'm sure in some country they could well say no, you can't
Don't
do
do
it.
it.
Don't do it. But in Hong Kong so far, they are quite helpful in many ways to help us get through this. I mean, it's a lot of process for sure. I'm not. Are you kidding me? Like, there's so many different departments. There's a lot of work to do, and maintenance and monitoring, reports whatsoever. But for a very new industry in Hong Kong, or even in any country, I would imagine it will go through the same process. You have obviously Scotland that has distillation or making spirits for so many years. You have Australia that has the wine industry, everything. It's a very sophisticated system already.
Yeah.
I don't think they started in day one, with
no,
the
I
same
don't think
system.
so.
So they had to develop. So hopefully by us setting this up, and by our experience, I guess, further collaboration with the government, we can slowly smoothen the whole process. And hopefully that's. I mean, this is step one, right? We can't imagine step one to be easy for anyone.
Sure.
I mean, they have to be. They have to safeguard their interests. I mean, they represent. I guess if they say the people of Hong Kong, they have to safeguard their interests as well. So, not just looking after our interests, right? We want to do something, but they have to safeguard their position as well. So, I mean, it's not difficult to start, but hopefully one step at a time we can develop, a better way to work with each other, to streamline, more efficient, different kinds of working modes with.
Eventually, you can build it up such that you reach the point, as is the case with tequila in Mexico. You can only in a certain part of Mexico you can.
Hong Kong has its own spirit now?
Yes, exactly. Yes, yes, and you can't use that name unless it's from Hong Kong. So you guys need to make something new, change the name, and then.
That'll be a very long process. I mean, oh my god. Yeah, I don't know. Haven't thought about that yet. We are still in step one.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But should we give it a bit of a taste? Can we give it a bit of a taste?
Yeah, sure.
Just a.
Actually, before that, why don't we talk a little bit about the bottle?
Oh yes. Okay. So what's the story behind the bottle?
So the brand, obviously, as you can see, the most apparent thing, obviously, are the Chinese characters. But
what do they mean? What do the Chinese characters mean?
So the Chinese characters, you can pronounce it as Mo Ming Si. Mo Ming Si. The Chinese name actually came from the English, though. English stands. The English name is N.I.P.
Okay.
So the reason why we name ourselves N.I.P. So N.I.P. actually stands for the opposite of VIP. So VIP is very important person. N.I.P. is the not important persons. So why do we call ourselves a not important person? Actually, Mo Ming Si has the same meaning. It means nobody, right? So obviously that means we are the nobodies, right? So the reason why we wanted to name our gin this way, instead of a very iconic, I guess, a landscape, or a very the icon of Hong Kong, for example, Ocean Park Gin or Victoria Park Gin, that kind of name.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Lion Rock Gin. That could have done something nice.
Instead of going that way, we wanted to go through a little bit more in-depth kind of spirit, and that's no pun intended. Actually, it's a more spiritual thing that we're trying to go for here. So what we want to say is actually that you don't really need to be a VIP or have any kind of background. Like Jeremy and I, we don't have any kind of background in the beverage industry, nor are we rich people or anything.
Okay.
But we believe that as long as you take the first step through persistence and hard work, you can actually achieve something that you deem worthwhile or something that you're really passionate about. And for us, obviously, creating a distillery, distilling our favorite spirit.
Yep.
And in contrast, I would say a lot of people in Hong Kong obviously are working 9-to-5 jobs or even working long 24 hours.
Yeah.
That kind of have forgotten, why they started what they're doing, or they've kind of forgotten, what they're passionate about. So a lot of people are kind of trapped in that little square. But we wanted to, through this brand, kind of tell a story that kind of resonates with a lot of people who live in Hong Kong or even internationally. That hey, as long as you take the first step, you can actually still do it. Even in a place like Hong Kong, where you're always talking about corporate finance, real estate, everyone's working and surviving to buy the flat or just to pay rent and everything, right? So a lot of people kind of don't remember what they're passionate about or what they really like. So that's one of the main aspects that why we name ourselves the N.I.P. Another aspect actually is related to Hong Kong itself. So, as you know, Hong Kong is, in terms of spirit making, Hong Kong is definitely an N.I.P. Not an important person, but a not important place. Put it that way.
Right. Okay.
When you talk about gin, there's always the US, the Europe, Australia, Japan.
Sure.
Now even Taiwan maybe.
Yeah.
But in terms of creativity or manufacturing in general, Hong Kong is kind of, it's kind of non-existent in Hong Kong. So we kind of want to smash that stereotyping, rather than just corporate finance and real estate. We want people to do and take that first step and create something, just like us, creating something that we think we can that can be reckoned with internationally or even in Hong Kong as well. So that's kind of a little bit of a backstory to the brand name of the gin. It has a lot of Hong Kong elements in it, spiritual wise. The appearance wise, Chinese calligraphy, and the calligraphy is actually written by a very famous Chinese calligrapher named Hua Guo.
Specifically for you?
Yes, specifically for us.
Yes.
Nice.
Hua Guo is famous in the sense that he writes a lot of movie posters. That's really famous in Hong Kong. So, especially from our generation, we would know there's a very famous comedian called Stephen Chow, Zhao Xingqi.
Yeah.
A lot of his movies like Six Sun, which is got a cookery, like Wai Long, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
All the movie posters are written by this guy, Hua Guo. So we didn't know this guy. He's like a little bit an older character, but he's a very nice person. He heard our story. We basically knocked on the door and say, "Hey, we have this story to tell you."
He heard your story
Yeah.
ahead of time, and then he requested to see you, or the other way
no.
around.
On his story.
Then you heard the story.
to tell his story and then tell him our story, and then he was very nice enough to write us a couple of words, which we really liked. That's why we included it on our label as well. So these words has its Hong Kong meaning to it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, obviously, there's this. Where should I do this?
Okay. Oh, you've actually.
We've got something on the bottom of the bottle as well.
Yeah.
This word actually means victory in Cantonese, in Chinese.
Victory.
Victory.
Okay.
So there's this is also quite a Hong Kong touch as well. So because when we say cheers, the old way of saying cheers in Cantonese is yam sing.
Oh, okay.
So yam sing, in a literal sense, means drink to win.
Oh.
So drink is the first word, yam.
Well, yeah.
And
So
sing
as
is
you
yam
do that, the victory goes up, right?
So basically, you drink, you win, right? Yam sing, and it usually means kampai. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
For Japanese. But at the same time, another touch to this is that if you've ever been to one of those hawker centers or those wet markets for dinner, a lot of people drink beers with balls. So that in its own way is called a battle ball.
Excuse me. What do you mean beers with balls?
They drink beers with balls.
Bowls. Oh, bowls.
Bowls.
Oh, I see.
balls.
okay.
Yeah. So
my corrupt mind is seeing.
No. They drink beer with balls. So basically they shop
Okay,
things like that.
I don't think I've ever seen.
Yeah,
that.
no. So if you
I've never seen
would
that.
like to,
But I go to these places.
Yeah, there's
We
one
normally
very
crack-
famous one in North Point called Tong Po.
Yeah, that's on top of the market.
Yeah.
That's where we go all the time.
Beer. They will serve you.
No, they
in
don't.
balls.
No, they don't. They
Oh,
serve it
they
in
do.
cans.
Oh, they do.
Really?
They do. And what's interesting is at the bottom of the ball, it has the same word. So the victory. So usually what happens is, pour the beer, chug it. Whoever chugs the fastest slams the ball on the table, and that's the way we drink in Hong Kong, right? So that's a little bit of a Hong Kong touch as well. So that's why it's on the bottom of our
Cool.
bottle.
All right.
So there's
Okay.
a little bit of a Hong Kong sense to it as well.
All right. Yeah. Now, what about the sort of square brackets with the point?
Yeah,
in the
so
center?
that's the logo for N.I.P, the brand. So the square brackets with the dots in the middle is actually called a placeholder. So a placeholder is usually reserved for inserting information. Like, for example, obviously I was from a legal background.
There's a connection to the...
and for example, if I didn't know your name in a particular document, we would use this placeholder to replace your name. And until we know your name, and that's when we actually fill it in. So the reason why we use that for the N.I.P brand is that we want to say anyone can insert their name and be an N.I.P. Or even if you are an N.I.P, you can still take your first step, and work hard for whatever you're passionate about or whatever you do
I love it.
worthwhile.
Oh, you're bringing it in together nicely.
Yeah, so
That's great.
that kind of all ties in with the brand as well. So that's a little bit about the bottle design, the touch of Hong Kong to it, and also obviously there's this little logo here.
Yeah, what's that
that
one?
little logo. That's actually the logo for the distillery, the mother company, which is
maybe you
Hong Kong
can
Craft
see.
Distilling Co. Not sure if you can actually tell from just looking at the logo. It actually resembles the three characters Hong Kong Craft. So HKC.
Oh right. Oh yeah.
K.
And there's a nice little C going on there.
Yeah, but at the same time, this logo can remind you of two Chinese words. One is mountain, and one is water. And water we mean by the sea, the harbour, and everything in Hong Kong, right? The reason why we wanted to put this to associate these things into a logo is because we wanted to remind people that Hong Kong's not all about buildings. Obviously now when we wake up, we look out the window, it's all buildings, blah blah. But actually, Hong Kong in its original form is actually constituted by a lot of mountains and waters and everything. It's surrounded by a beautiful landscape that we've kind of forgotten. So that's something that's very important, I think, to what makes Hong Kong Hong Kong.
Right.
So that's why we wanted to put these important elements into our logo as well.
Yeah.
So to put a little bit more Hong Kong into the whole design and the packaging and the branding. Yeah. And on top of that, obviously the content itself, as we mentioned earlier, the traditional botanicals or traditional gin with the Hong Kong twist. So even the content of itself, we wanted to put a lot of Hong Kong elements in it as well. And we can obviously proceed to. That's a huge glass.
That's okay.
Is it?
Yeah, for me. So when we created this gin, obviously we wanted to create, as we said, a traditional profile with a Hong Kong touch to it. So the traditional profile, what we mean by that is using more traditional botanicals that we use to make gin, including juniper berries, coriander seeds, angelica roots, licorice roots, cardamom, these kind of botanicals as a base. In the pot side, which we mentioned earlier, that's where the heavier flavors would go.
Those are the ones that are more resistant towards like high temperature, correct?
Correctly.
Okay.
So we're constantly heating them up. That's why the flavors are more predominant. And when we talk about the vapor infusion and the botanicals basket, which we mentioned before, that's where we put our Hong Kong elements to it, so that the gin base, which is the more traditional gin taste, would absorb the subtle touches of the Hong Kong botanicals, which includes the tea leaves, which we use two kinds, including Longjing and also Xiaomei. We also use osmanthus. The reason why we use the two teas is because there's a very common kinds of tea we consume during dim sum or yum cha. Yeah, and those are the teas that we grew up with that we think that are representative of, some sort of a taste of Hong Kong. Another part of that, obviously, we use osmanthus, which is very commonly used in the Chinese dessert making. There's also aged tangerine peel, obviously very common in culinary arts,
Yeah.
and in Cantonese culinary art. And also we use fresh pear, we use goji berries, we use fresh ginger, these kind of things to bolster the Hong Kong touches to the gin. So when you drink it, when you smell it, the first nosing would be a more fragrance. It's not very in your face, but it's consistent with the brand as well. It's got this fragrance that slowly opens up to you. It's got a bit of floral touch to it, which comes with osmanthus, a bit of pear, the fruitiness, and also the tea. And as you slowly smell and as you taste it, sip it, you'll notice that the first taste would still be the juniper forward, and then it opens up into the fruitiness from a pear and also citrus.
Yep.
That includes lemon also and grapefruit.
Yeah.
And then it rounds
right.
off with a bit of tea.
But I also get a little hint of aniseed coming in there.
Yeah.
At the same time at the tea.
Yeah. So the tea comes in also with aniseed or warm spices even after you breathe out as well.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you'll feel a little bit of dryness at the bottom of your tongue. That's quite typical of actually drinking tea. When you drink tea, you get a bit of dryness in your mouth as well. So that's kind of the concept of the Hong Kong touches to it. And as you swallow, we hope to make an impression that this is a very palatable spirit. It's warm but not hot. So unlike a lot of gins that I guess a lot of people had tried before, it might be very punchy. So when we created this recipe, we wanted to make sure that it's in accordance with the Hong Kong palate. So I guess a lot of people in Hong Kong, they don't really like the very punchy spirits or the very burning sensation after drinking spirit. So when we created this, we actually referenced off a little bit of whiskey making or profiling, and making it in terms of depth, complexity, in terms of having a front, mid, and ends to it, and a bit of layering in terms of the different flavors.
Yep.
So that when you drink it, it's also smooth, and you can sip it slowly and make sure that you discover the different kinds of botanicals inside the gin. So that's kind of the reason why we created our profile this way in creating the gin. Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned to you that, like on Tuesday, that I consider this gin to be, very good actually. It's like at least on par with some of the best gins I've ever had.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah, and if you make it into a cocktail, obviously, we kind of still want people to try gins by itself first,
Lovely,
because
it's lovely.
Because
Yeah.
if you want to learn a little bit more about gin, which is why we're here for.
Yes.
What we're here for.
Yes.
They really need to try the gin by itself rather than using tonic or making it into a cocktail, right?
Yeah.
That's especially why we had to make our profiling in this particular way, so that
Right.
people are not turned off by the concept of drinking gin by itself, and as they open up their mindset to, actually we can actually taste gin by itself and understand a little bit more about what constitutes a gin, what is used to make our gin or other gins, that may trigger their interest in consuming the spirit or willing to try more of the spirit or different kinds of gins in general, so that we could, I guess, open up this what we think is a very palatable or very nice spirit to everyone, right? So people can drink more gin, try more gin, explore a little bit more different kinds of usage of gin in cocktails by itself, by neat or piece of ice, or even gin and tonics, cocktails whatsoever.
So we've got a man cave organized on the 29th or 30th of this month, uncertain when, and I think I want to introduce the boys to N.I.P.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great.
I need to purchase a bottle of this, and then I think they'll like it. Last time we had a what's that name of the gin I just mentioned earlier on? The other gin that I said is pretty good. The blue one, the one that you normally drank. Hendrix.
Hendrix.
Yeah. I introduced them to Hendrix at the last man cave. It went down quite well.
Yeah.
But I think now we need to do the Hong Kong
Yeah.
flavor. Yeah.
No, that'd be great.
Yeah. This is wonderful.
Thank you.
So where to next from here?
I mean, like, obviously now is a little bit of an interesting time for every one of us.
Yep.
Hopefully we will want to, slowly market ourselves, solidify the foundation of our first brand,
Right.
of our first issue, and then hopefully we can come up with a few different special editions or different flavors to bolster the portfolio and to expand a little bit more into Hong Kong. We're starting from Hong Kong first, obviously.
Do you think there's a good enough market for this out there?
I mean, like, I think there is still a huge proportion of the population in Hong Kong that don't really know about spirit just yet.
Right.
So we want to at least be able to introduce this to everyone, make sure they actually try this first. I believe, given the climates of Hong Kong, gin is actually quite a suitable spirit.
Yeah. Wouldn't it also be a good idea to go into markets where it is already, people are already educated about gin?
Of course,
and then because then when they see there's a Hong Kong,
for sure,
they would be more curious to try.
I think that will be the next step first. So, firstly, obviously, we want to make ourselves one of the major brands in Hong Kong first.
Okay.
So as we export or go to different countries, we will be introduced as one of the major brands in Hong Kong rather than just a other brand in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Let's just slap it into the portfolio. Yeah, hey, try this, that kind of thing. But we want to develop ourselves into maybe, hopefully, something that you must have in that particular in the region. Firstly, maybe in Asia or China, or around this particular region first, and then hopefully, we can go around.
Do you think the Chinese market would be very good at?
That's a very difficult market. I think Chinese has this rooted beverages in terms of what they're usually drinking, what they're used to.
Okay.
Obviously, the cocktail scene is also developing there, but it's a challenge to move into such a big place.
Yeah.
That's still developing. I mean, China may not even be our first step. I think, Singapore's, the Southeast Asia's, the Malaysia's, those places are probably more suitable for this kind of drink, right? Because gin and tonics, refreshing, hot places.
Yeah.
So
Ho Chi Minh City.
Yeah,
That
something
might be a
like
good
that.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or even Tokyo. Tokyo might be also a good place.
Yeah, Tokyo is a very sophisticated place too.
Yeah, true. But also they
have a lot of Japanese gins already, so that'll be.
Ah, is it so?
Yeah,
okay.
that would be a challenge as well.
Good luck. Yeah, well, Hong Kong brand. This is very exciting. Very exciting. There's something romantic about distilling alcohol or making alcohol. There's something. It's like one of the one of the arts that hasn't lost its magical touch. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Yet is also very scientific.
It is very scientific for sure.
Yeah.
But there's an definitely artistic side.
Very much so.
For sure.
Very much so. And if you, it's like when I taste your gin, it's like as if you made a computer game, for example, and I come into the computer game and I'm discovering. Yeah. I'm discovering what you've done, or you wrote a book, and I'm reading your book, and I'm discovering it as I go into it. It's quite a magical thing, Oh.
No, I think that's quite a nice way to put it. I mean, not only because of the whole story of how we set up the whole thing.
Right.
Even in the spirit itself, we wanted a certain particular image to pop up in your mind.
Right. We
want you to visualize when you're drinking this. You got the tea, you got the Chinese, or the Cantonese, or the Hong Kong touches to it. You can imagine, although Hong Kong is a mixed city, which is perfect because our gin is a mixed profile as well. So think a little bit more about that kind of visual. That's something that obviously it's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, and it's more than just a gin. That's what we're trying to convey. It's you're drinking a Hong Kong story kind.
You're right. Yeah, exactly.
More like that. And not just the Hong Kong inspired botanicals.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Yeah. But I think that's exactly the right way you should do it. Start off from yourselves. I mean, bring together your own sort of personal journey and how it's infused not only the botanicals but your own personalities.
That's the idea behind it.
Yeah. Well, despite the requiring a distilling license, I think I might go onto Taobao or something and get myself a wee little still. I don't want your support or anything or legal advice or anything, but I think I might just do that. And I think it might be fun, going down that pathway. So anyway, what about your own individual backgrounds before you okay, so you were a lawyer?
Yeah.
Before you decided to lance out and do
so I was
gin work?
I was a corporate lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So I started in Hong Kong in a few corporate law firms, I guess. Two corporate law firms, doing mainly capital markets, M&A, PE, that kind of thing. Joined also a PE or family office, put it that way, more on the private equity side of things. Afterwards, and I was a lawyer for around 7 years' time before I came at my kind of crossroads. And I was thinking, whether I should continue being a lawyer or do something that I've always wanted to do. Obviously legal is a very good field as well. Definitely has its perks. It's a very comfortable, obviously very hardworking, but comfortable field. Also, it's very rewarding as well. But I always had some things in the back of my mind that I really wanted to do, and that's not to make myself sound like an alcoholic, to create an alcohol.
We already know
judge.
that. He's certified already. The man.
I was quite passionate in cocktail making and all that kind of stuff. I was really looking into those things, making alcohol, whatnot. And with the right opportunity, I thought we might not pursue, our passion for once, in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Actually do something that I am looking forward to, or actually I really, really want to do.
Yeah.
And if I pass on that chance, I'll probably still be a lawyer.
Yeah.
Probably for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Then there'll be a what if, or what if I did that, what if I didn't do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I didn't want any kind of regret. So I thought, I think everyone should step off and do something they really want to do at least once in their lifetime. So that's my way of thinking. I'm sure a lot of people don't agree with that.
Yeah.
You're chucking away steady jobs and everything, good pays, but I believe that in order to live a more kind of fulsome or more exciting life, that's part of the journey.
What did your parents say?
Oh no. No. No, absolutely not. They were quite worried and obviously not quite happy with the decision, given that I understand also because they put themselves through a lot of hard work as well in getting me to good schools, getting me into good education. Finally I landed a good job and everything, although it was quite difficult work. Not difficult, but working hours were very long, but it's still a steady kind of a gig, right? So when I decided to step out, they firstly weren't too happy with it, but
they read you the Riot Act.
What? Sorry?
They read you the Riot Act, didn't they?
Not exactly, but they were just like, why?
Oh, right. Okay.
Just why?
Typical.
Yeah.
There's a lot of whys. But slowly, gradually, they understand, but they still worry. Obviously, they're their parents, right?
Still worry?
They still worry, man.
Really?
Yeah.
He's not married yet. He needs to get married first, and then they'll be like, okay.
Not just that, because obviously pandemic and everything.
Yeah.
And they're scared that we're not doing well. They're always asking me, are you short on money and stuff? How are you guys doing?
I want that kind of parents.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't mind that too.
I'm so jealous.
It's not that they will give me. It's like, are you okay? Are you dying?
So are you dying? Yes, I'm dying. Okay, you go die. That's the way it is.
about you,
whatever it
Jeremy?
is,
What was your life before?
I work in a branding agency
Okay.
slash consultancy before. So I was
Cool.
working in a brand consultancy for like how many years? 8, 10 years.
Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started my own projects before this one.
Yeah.
So
What project was that?
some F&B projects as well. So a little bit of experience that helped. out
Food,
customers.
food and beverage.
Yeah, food and
Janice
beverage.
taught me that. Food and
yeah.
beverage. Okay, yeah,
Food
yeah,
and
yeah.
beverage.
And
Yeah.
then?
And then
Well, what were you doing, like specifically within the
food and
F&B
beverage.
stuff? Yeah.
So dessert and noodles.
Mm.
You know, bit of everything.
Did you actually have your own little shop kind of thing?
Yeah. we
Really?
did, yeah.
Okay, and you were cooking and making the stuff
Oh,
yourself?
no. You know, I don't really. Yeah, I know how to make it, but I'm not the one who make it.
Oh, okay, okay. But what brought you in that direction? Did you think it was like, okay, well, like
It's
Hong
just
Kong?
you know, that moment when it comes to okay, are you gonna stay in the field or you want to do something else? So
Right.
it's just
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
not like a midlife crisis, but you know,
Not
just, you want to take a leap of faith, doing something else.
Yeah.
That
And
was me.
it was at that point where the two of you met over beers, around approximately, right?
I was earlier. I think
Okay.
I quit my field in 2015 or 14,
Okay.
and then this project was first started in 2017. So
Right.
2 years earlier.
Okay. So you
I
haven't-
didn't tell my parents until it's open.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't want them to,
Yeah.
I want them to ask whether, I'm dying or, lack of money, but,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it was like,
Yeah. But do you have any brothers and sisters or?
yeah, I do.
But okay, you don't.
I have.
Oh, you do.
I have
you've
an
got a
older
sister.
sister. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Also a lawyer. So.
Oh, okay. She's probably doing better than you now, isn't she? It's
well,
it's like, just wait, sis.
Steady. Pretty good.
Yeah. And she's based in Australia, is that right? I mean, you guys have got your
No, she's based in Singapore.
Singapore.
And she moved to she got married to Singapore. So.
Oh, okay. All right, okay. Well, no, it's terribly exciting. Terribly exciting to see what's going to happen with this place.
Yeah.
So how do people get hold of you?
I mean, like, obviously there are a few ways. Through our website, our social media, I guess, our IG, N.I.P Distilling, Facebook, it's the same thing. We do.
Do we need to do that? Follow us on.
No, don't do that.
Look below the screen.
It's
like,
okay.
No, we don't do that. No, we do. I mean, like, previously, when things were a little bit better in terms of, I guess, social distancing, we were doing a bit more distillery tours.
Yeah. Okay.
We talk about
been
some
cut
of the
down a
things
bit.
that we touched on today.
Yeah.
There's I talk about the gin a little bit, the brand,
Right.
history,
Mhm,
distillation, the botanicals.
Right. Do you guys have a process that's going on at the moment
No,
in the back? Oh, okay. I think
No.
also Jeremy turned off the fan or something, so I thought maybe like.
no, I don't know what he's doing.
Okay.
No idea what he's doing.
Okay.
But maybe he just needs to go to the toilet.
Oh, there's a bathroom there, is there?
There's a bathroom in there. Unfortunately, it's only for the two of us.
Only for the two of you.
Yeah.
Like anybody else is not allowed into that
Yeah.
whole area. Is that right?
Everyone else has to go outside.
But is it that strict? I mean, is it that strict
Oh,
that
yes,
you
it is very strict.
really you could lose your license if somebody else were to walk into there? Holy hell! What is that considered like a kitchen? And
It is a kitchen. It's a factory.
It's a
It's a
factory. It's a factory.
and by that standard, like nobody else without a certain
No,
license.
the certain license, regulating the whole area. That's why.
Right. Okay. Wow. Okay. Well.
Yeah.
You want more?
Yes, please. There. That's great.
I was gonna hit the gym after this, but no.
No.
More of this for me.
It's Friday.
No, I'm gonna go
It's Friday.
swimming.
It's Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday. Yeah.
No, there's an
Cheer- well,
there's an
cheers.
Australian football game
cheers.
later
Oh,
on. I
we're
still
doing
have
a
some.
cheer-
I still
okay.
have
No,
some.
no. Pour
Hey,
in
come
some
on.
more.
I drank before. You didn't drink.
All right.
Dude, well, cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, I was planning to watch the Aussie football game and then gym later on.
Mhm.
I feel like
No, I'm gonna hit the pool. I've got a lot of swimming to do, like to catch up. But doing butterfly with this busted arm is quite an experience. I can only get like, you know, one.
So you swim.
Oh yeah, I'm swimming. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. No,
That's very, very hard to do.
This arm needs to come right very quickly.
Fracture on this arm.
It's a fracture. Don't make it sound like a fracture is like an only thing. You know, like a.
It's only a fracture. Come on.
Yeah. No, dude, this is like fucking painful. But yeah, like doing butterfly now. I've only
Why do you have to do butterflies though?
Because I love butterfly.
Oh wow, that's the hardest to do.
That's why I like it.
Sexiest in the pool.
Is it?
All these guys like
if you can do it well, otherwise you do it well. Exactly, like a drowning duck or something. You know, like. No, I can do it pretty well. But I just need to, you know, get back into it. Like the pool was closed for a number of months, and I don't know if I should say it here. Yeah, but every night I would break in.
Oh, it's on camera.
It's on camera now. It doesn't matter. Like people don't know where I live. But every night I would break in, swim at midnight. You know.
Jeez.
I worked out the combination, like cracked it.
Okay.
Go in.
Okay. Okay.
But you know, you have to swim underwater. You can't swim. Jesus, my wife. I regret saying it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's the pool is open now, so. But yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah, but that's pretty much how it worked. Eventually the arm will come right, and it'll be fine.
Oh, that's great.
Do you also go to the gym and that sort of thing?
No.
Nothing.
No, basketball.
Oh, that shit's bad on the ankles, man. Yeah.
Knees and
Knees and
back.
ankle, yeah.
Lower back.
Yeah. Well, you're
I was just getting too old. Don't mention.
Yeah, I stopped playing as well.
I have a game on Sunday. Join us.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't do that.
Yeah, I know.
No, whenever I jump nowadays, I can feel my back like screaming. Oh.
Really?
No.
Do you have like any dislodged?
No, I had an injury, a muscle injury before because of basketball, actually.
Because of basketball.
Yeah, because of basketball. I was kicked pretty hard in the lower back.
I thought like physical stuff is like you don't do that.
Yeah, no, like that time was a little bit.
No, you must have been pissing off somebody then.
No, it wasn't intentional. So two of us were going for a ball. We fell on the ground, and then there was this guy like sprinting full on.
Yeah.
He tripped over me on my lower back.
Oh, Jesus.
So it was a kick. Yeah. Like full on, and he tripped as well. So three guys were on the floor, but I was on the floor the hardest.
Oh God.
I couldn't walk after that. Like, I was really, really struggling to walk.
Good God. And since then, it's like been.
Since then, I had to go for physio. I had to do chiropractor.
Yeah.
Chiropractor.
Is it chiropractor?
I think so. Chiropractography.
Chiro is called chiro. I did Chinese, like, you know, the acupuncture shit. Like.
Oh yeah.
It took a while, man.
It did work.
Yeah, it worked, but you know, it never felt the same again because once you get that injury, you stop working out the lower back. I also had gym injuries as well, so deadlifts too heavy.
Oh God!
I snapped that one once.
So deadlifts are when you're like lying on the back, and then you.
This is when you lift it up
straight up like that. Okay.
And then it was too heavy. So.
And then
I was on the last rep of my last set.
Clack. Did you hear something pop?
It was like exactly.
In your back or
back?
Oh shit.
Fuck.
Yeah, that was painful. So I injured it a couple of times. So nowadays when I jump, it's just not very nice. Yeah. It doesn't feel very nice.
Yeah.
And, you know, the whole psychological thing also kicks in as well. It's like, oh fuck, my back, blah blah.
Yeah. Could be crippled or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more scared of the knees though.
Yeah.
All my friends' ACL and MCLs are gone. They're all gone. Okay. Everything.
Just pop them out.
Yeah, for changing directions.
Yeah, actually, I don't do that. Like when I first came to Hong Kong, is the first time I kind of thought about doing basketball. Back in South Africa, we didn't do basketball. The only time I'd ever sort of played basketball was when I went over to Canada. I've got some family in Canada. Those guys are hardcore basketball players. Like,
States, North America.
It's like a religion there, man.
Of course.
And I think number 2 of my nephews, he's like going pro. He's a pro basketball player now. And, you know, he gets contracted to go to Spain and play basketball. He's come back. I think it's Nighthawks or some other basketball team. Anyway, it looks like he's going places. But yeah, even when he was a lighty about that big, that guy could whip circles around me like when
I'm
my
sure.
basketball.
It's a big culture over there in the North America.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah. But yeah, like when I came out here and I played basketball, someone threw a ball at me and I tried to catch it and it just caught my finger straight on, and I was like, "Yep, I don't do this.
Done.
What do you call that?
I don't do this.
Fish
I don't-
balls.
I d-
Don't
what do you
do
mean?
that now.
Fish balls.
Fish balls. What do you mean?
Oh yeah, that's
Is this actually
the
is a
Cantonese way.
Hong Kong Cantonese way
Yeah.
of calling this?
So you
That's
know how you put fish balls.
You know fish balls?
Yeah, I know fish balls.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the hawker ones.
yeah.
So you get this bamboo stick. You stick fish balls into the stick.
Okay, yeah.
It's
And then?
the same
Oh,
same
for
action as that.
fuck's sake.
It's a huge basketball sticking into your finger, right?
So it's called 篤魚蛋.
Oh my god, that's just so much pain.
You
That
can
is-
visualize it.
Yeah.
篤魚蛋.
Yeah.
So
what's it
like
called?
fish ball
篤
going
魚-
going through that, you know.
Yeah.
And then your finger swells up to.
Yes, well, and you can't do anything with it. Ah, Jesus, yeah. So yeah, that was my sort of experience of basketball. But people enjoy it, and also people like to play football out here. There's not much rock climbing. Actually, I lie. There is rock climbing, but it's on the islands. You have to do a little bit of a
really?
trek for it. They've got some nice trad walls.
In Hong Kong?
Yeah,
On cycling, right?
yeah.
Is there somewhere near cycling?
Well, I forgot the name.
There's
of
one
the
in
island.
Kowloon, I know that. Near my
No, I mean
Yeah.
that not the real rock climbing one you're talking about.
Well,
where
there's
it's like
the
a
natural
built
face,
one.
and also there's
Oh,
a
yeah?
sport climbing walls. There's a number of these walls. There's like YMCA has also got one.
Oh yeah. There's one next to King's Park,
nice,
right?
yeah.
It's like
Yeah. But unfortunately, it's like everything is so docile and like tame out here. You have to have licenses to do rock climbing.
that's Hong Kong.
Yeah, I know. But it's like very incompatible
No,
for
you
a
need-
South
yeah,
African, right?
actually, that's not just Hong Kong. Actually, in Singapore.
Oh come on, man! Back
No.
in South Africa, we just
No,
like we
you
go
don't need
by.
anything. You just
Yeah.
go like that.
It's like okay, there's a wall. Go
Okay,
climb
just
up
go
the
ahead.
wall.
No, in Singapore, you also need.
Singapore and Hong Kong is the same stuff.
Same
We're talking
culture.
about South
Yeah,
Africa.
yeah.
Of course, if you talk about
Yeah.
those countries.
Those countries, those
Australia.
riffraff countries,
those
let's draw the line.
I mean,
We're the civilized ones.
So the free stuff, the free countries, like in terms of sports and everything. I'm sure. I mean, Australia is free as well. Everyone's
Yeah.
doing all sorts of different stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But with places like Hong Kong, there are not more. They are not so developed in the sports, or I guess the.
Well, certain
That kind of
sports are more
sense,
developed.
yeah.
Yeah. Like for example, the cycling. You got this.
Of
you
course,
got this.
because you know why? Because someone's good at it and won the
Yeah, that's
Olympic.
exactly it. Yeah.
And then they invest.
And then it's so cheap, man. It's so cheap.
exactly
It's
that.
like somebody's
I
got to
mean,
do a
like,
good
you
job.
understand, Hong
Yeah.
Kong has limited places, right?
So well, then there's a good advantage for you guys. You just got to make sure you get a world, cracking gin out there, and then I'm sure everyone will throw
that's
money
what
at
we're
you.
trying. Absolutely.
Fine.
Yeah.
Same as everything. As long as the product's good, hopefully.
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say something, but I forgot. Should we dude, this is like, if we wrap up now, it's like only an hour and a half. This will be the shortest Indaba I've ever done. The shortest.
Have we been boring?
No! But like, come on, like we can keep going. Like, I mean, let's open up and more other than gin. We can talk about, for example, I don't know, more distilling stuff.
I think we covered quite a bit.
All of that
distilling
booze
already, right?
areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, short is not.
We talk about rock climbing.
It's not about the length, right? It's how you.
That's
It's how the.
You don't have.
it's the motion of the ocean.
It's the quality that counts. It's the quality that counts.
No, I just got the
it
feeling.
ain't the
I
length.
just got the feeling that you want to wrap it up. I'm like, no, wait, it's like this. There's so many more things we can do.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, I guess the gin, the distillery, and distillation and botanicals, I think we covered quite a bit of it as well. It's quite consistent as well because usually in our distillery tours we only talk for an hour around
That's
there
okay.
to explain everything.
All right, then I'm going to start asking questions. You see that tower on the copper tower.
Yeah.
Whenever I look at videos on YouTube, I see lights shining into those ports. Why? Is it just so you can see in? Does the light have any purpose?
Well, I think there are two purposes. Firstly, you can see what's going on inside the column.
Okay.
Because there's reflux going on. There's liquid
Alright.
coming down, vapors
Oh,
coming up.
dude, you okay? I need to. Camera discipline, gentlemen. I just looked at this and I noticed that like both of you are like off.
No,
Complete-
it's because
Well-
we're looking at
Oh,
the
I
still
see,
right
I
now,
see.
right?
Okay, well, no, actually, I can get a good angle. So if you don't
So-
move, then we
so
can
the-
stop. Yeah.
So yeah, so you have to see what's going on inside.
All right,
If
okay.
Everything's going to plan.
Okay. So I mean, what are you
Second-
looking for when you look in there? What are you looking for?
Firstly, I have to. One of the most important things is the start of the process. You have to kind of look into it to see whether things are going through, right?
Okay, but why wouldn't they go through?
From the pot side to the second side, and also you have to understand because it's actually a timing issue. So I've in terms of because we do a standard recipe.
Okay.
At this particular point in time, I should expect this to happen.
Ah.
That kind of thing, right? So when I see it, I can kind of estimate. Okay, this just started. This is gonna take that long,
Right.
and I'm gonna
Okay.
revisit it before things come
Okay.
through.
Okay.
So that's one thing. Secondly, it just looks good.
You know.
Does it? Does it really?
Doesn't it look good now with the lights?
No, it
shining
does.
through?
Okay.
It's
I thought you meant.
important
I thought
to-
you meant like the bubbling looks good. No, but you're right. You're right.
Oh,
It
it's for
definitely does.
aesthetic reasons. I
It
mean,
does.
they are still without lights shining through.
When it looks good, it tastes good. You know.
Absolutely. That's the real secret to a
Yeah.
good gin, eh? Stuff all the botanicals.
Yeah.
Now, how does that chamber work? That column work?
So essentially, it's a rectifying column. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, let's
Those three lights there each represent a copper plate.
So there's a copper plate on that.
Yeah. So
And
three copper plates.
why do you want a copper plate there?
So essentially, what you mentioned about reflux is sort of purifying and
Okay.
rectifying a spirit, right?
Okay.
By temperature difference. So at the start of the process, let's put it that way.
Mhm.
That's the easiest to visualize. So when the vapor passes through the column, the plates would be cold. So there would be a temperature difference.
Okay.
So as you would imagine, because alcohol is more volatile and water is less volatile.
Alcohol goes up, water goes down.
Yeah, correct. So
Okay.
when it goes through,
Right.
the first plate, for example, the
So
lightest
are there
stuff.
holes? Are there holes
Yeah,
in
there
the
are holes.
plate?
There are holes. Yeah, there are holes.
Okay.
And as the lighter stuff, which is the alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
and the lighter oils goes through,
Mm-hmm.
these are, the heavier stuff, which is the water,
Yeah.
and the heavier botanical oils will condense back into liquid
Okay.
and go back into the pot. So
Which is on the bottom of that
yeah,
chain.
it goes back into the
Oh,
pot.
wait a second.
It's linked.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
it's a circulation. These two things is it's a circulation here.
Okay.
Right.
So as the water comes in, then it just goes straight down, plop, and then
Yeah.
boils up through again, and then goes through the same
Correct.
process
This
again.
is a circulation process. That's why
Okay.
it's called a reflux.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So as it goes through different plates, two different
Mm.
plates,
Mm-hmm.
the temperature difference will allow the heavier stuff to be stripped off, which is
Right.
the water, the heavy botanical oils, the less desirable flavors.
Right.
And then what we collect, what goes through, are the good stuff, the juice.
The juice. You mean the ethanol? You mean?
Yeah,
The juice. We'll call it the juice.
We'll call it the
The
juice.
The juice.
We'll just call it the juice.
Juice, right?
Juice is good.
That's the good stuff that's passing through.
Mm,
So essentially, that's why we call it a rectification column. It
Yeah.
rectifies the alcohol, it
Mm.
purifies it,
Mm.
makes it a little bit more smoother.
Mm.
The heavier, undesirable stuff all condense back into the pot.
Now, each of those copper plates, I heard that some of them have got like little bubbles on it.
Yeah, bubble caps.
Bubble
they're
caps, yeah.
different caps. Right?
What have
So,
you guys got? And is there anything special or about these?
There are
things?
different theories to it, right? So essentially, it's so what happens is there's a cap. So each plate there are caps on top.
Right.
So this is a plate. There's
Gotcha.
a cap on top, right?
Yeah.
So, but the cap is not completely doesn't completely cover the plate. So it has a little bit of space so that when the vapor comes up, it goes through the cap. right? So it goes through on sideways, right? So what's good about this is actually when there's condensation going on, constant condensation going on.
Mm-hmm.
So the heavier stuff from the top plate rolls down to the second plate,
Yep.
to the first plate.
Mm-hmm.
There will be a layer of liquid
On each
plate.
Yes. Okay.
So as the vapor goes past the plate,
Yeah.
it will first go into the liquid before rushing up. If you can
Okay.
imagine that.
I can imagine
It
that.
will, that's why it bubbles, right? So you constantly have vapor bubbling through a layer of liquid.
Okay, and by doing that,
You are basically stripping off. So obviously when the vapor goes through liquid, the heavier stuff will strip off and only the lighter stuff will go past, right? Because it's constantly...
We're going really, really technical.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
No, that's
So
very interesting.
that's why you need... that's why it's a rectification process. So you're going through different layers of temperature, different layers of liquid, and as the vapor goes through...
So the higher you go, the more of these things, the more refined the alcohol gets, right? Okay.
That's exactly it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see. And that's why vodka requires having something like, I don't know, 24 of those things.
Yeah,
In
more
there?
than that even sometimes.
More
40,
than that?
40 something plates.
40? Jesus Christ. What the hell kind of alcohol are you going to be drinking out of a 40? How do you define
Just
it?
really, really clear, really pure, substance.
You can wash your hands, like clean
Oh,
your...
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where you purchase your base spirit comes out of one of those things. One of those.
Yeah, so
Somewhere in the
we
world.
basically purchase the neutral spirit that we get is basically even it's a higher requirement than vodka, so it's completely clear without anything, it does have a little bit of other substances, but the main substance would absolutely
Would be
be
water and
alcohol, right?
ethanol,
Yeah,
just
correct.
straight up pure
Yeah,
water
yeah.
ethanol. Okay, so that's probably gone through some sort of like industrial factory type of
exactly. So
yeah.
those you're talking about 7 columns of like 70 plates, 60 plates, that kind of thing.
7 of them. So they go through. Wow. Okay, that's manic.
Yeah.
That's manic. Okay, then from there you're already okay. So but at that point you already got like the highest, most ABV
Yeah,
possible, and then you just dilute it down,
correct.
and then you can make out what you need to do.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of simple,
It is.
From-
In terms of the whole a distilling concept, I wouldn't say it's super crazy difficult rocket science.
Well,
It's the system or how you achieve what you want.
reliably reproduce.
consistently
Yeah.
reproduce or achieve with this particular process what you want to achieve. Right. Obviously, to do it is actually quite easy, but then actually, how do you draw different substances or everything? Those are a lot. There's a lot of science to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But as how about the condensation chamber?
Mm-hmm.
I suppose there's nothing.
There's no magic to it.
There's no magic to it. Yeah. but do you actually just turn on the tap and just cycle
No,
the
so what
water out,
happens
or
is
do you have
actually
like a closed circuit?
behind is still. We only let you see the nice stuff, right? There's a bunch of supporting systems. Back
Oh, are you
there.
kidding me? So there's more to it
Yeah.
on the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So, but those are the less appealing components. You have water tanks.
Right.
We have chillers, obviously. We
Oh,
need cold
okay.
water
Okay.
to run through the still. So there's
Right.
there's a loop inside as well.
Okay.
Those are designed for the purpose of running the still.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Interesting. Okay. So you're looking at what? Pretty sizable amount of money just for the setup.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I got you. God damn it.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, N.I.P. Get it.
Yeah. Get it.
Damn right.
Drink.
Yeah.
That thing again.
No, it's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's more? What's more to this? I don't know. You don't want to do a whiskey? Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
What other sort of like, you can also do beer with that, can't you?
No.
Why not? I thought you could just do brewery in there. Oh, no, you got the distilling thing.
You wouldn't do it in there.
Yeah.
Where would you do it?
Stainless steel tanks. Not copper. It eats into it, so
Oh, is that so?
yeah.
There are quite a few breweries in Hong Kong, really. So
Yeah. So just a large stainless steel tank?
Usually you need big
Yeah.
places because of
the
that's
tanks,
that's definitely
bigger
mass
tanks.
production.
Have you been to those breweries here in
Yeah,
Hong Kong?
we've been a few-
There was Lucky Dogs. Lucky Dogs
I
in North Point, but they
think
closed.
They closed.
I don't know why. It's,
No idea.
No idea.
It was
Dude,
never
Have you
open
been
when we.
to? Have you been to?
so we managed to make friends and we managed to sort of get in there like as friends because they weren't allowed to sell alcohol on the
premises.
premise kind of thing. Yeah.
Are we in a?
No,
Yeah, they're still there.
no, but they're gone.
no,
They're gone.
closed,
They're gone.
They're
So-
gone. They're gone.
No,
I think-
we just realized it's
I mean,
never open, so I don't understand.
Oh no!
what's
Yeah,
going
we
on
were
there.
trying to, go
oh,
in.
Oh
and,
no! Sure. No, I got in. I with my friends we stood outside and we said we're not leaving until we come
I mean,
in.
they
basically,
I think they have quite a big setup there.
it was great. Nice, huge setup.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they had, I don't know what those containers are called. They had like 8, 9 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was rather
So
large
just
place.
basically
And I-
tanks.
yeah, and I thought, what the hell? Why aren't you guys doing a better job of this? I could tell the reason
Do they
why.
usually do export? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I, don't,
'cause
I,
I don't-
I need to run.
I think a lot of that thing was, tax money, hiding tax money, something like that. I suspect. No,
Okay.
no, I mean, no, not here. I just suspect. I don't know. I mean, I have no evidence or anything. But
I mean,
like,
they-
why would
they-
you
I
create?
mean-
Why would you create such a huge place?
Yeah, exactly. I
And,
mean,
and
I
it's
think
not doing anything.
It's been around for like 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Only.
Yeah. I mean,
Weird thing is.
yeah.
I mean, if you're willing to, spend some resources on marketing and business development. I
Yeah,
mean,
they had a few good drafts which I kind of enjoyed, but I mean I didn't.
I haven't tried.
No, you haven't even tried it, right?
No, because I don't know where they sell the.
Oh no, you have to go onto the thing, into the
and
thing, and then they got
they-
like a bar thing, and then you're like, okay, I'll have that, and that.
But the thing is, they always,
Oh, no.
they're not open.
No, but that's why. Yeah, you have
That's
to knock on the
weird.
door on the door, and you say, "Let me in." It's basically like they can't open to the public for some reason. But if you're friends, well, you can go in.
But you just can't,
You just pretend you're friends.
you can't be just selling to friends for such.
No, I don't think
setup.
I don't recall ever
Do
handing
they,
over
do they
money.
sell to bars or doing retails?
No, I'm
or-
not sure. I'm not sure.
I've never seen, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've
At
never
that
seen.
point, I wasn't so interested in distilling or making alcohol.
Mhm.
It's only recently that I've become a lot more interested in that.
I mean, there are a few, breweries in Hong Kong doing quite well, like Young Master and Common
Alright.
Brews, Heroes.
But are they on the island or even
I
NT
think
or
Young
like
Master, it's on the island side, Wang Zhou Hang. You know Wang Zhou Hang? It's
Actually.
Aberdeen. Somewhere
okay?
near Aberdeen.
Oh, okay. That's further
And,
down south.
For Cabin Brew, it's in Fortan. Fortan, it's in New
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Town.
I used to live in Fortan.
Yeah,
I used to
Fortan.
live in Fortan. That's next to the race course.
Yeah.
Next to the race course. They've got a few. There's an industrial
And
centre
there's
going on there.
Guilo. You know Guilo beer? Have you heard?
Oh, is Guilo beer also in
Guilo
Fortan?
beer is supposed to be made in Hong Kong. It's also in Fortan.
Yeah.
But I heard that. I'm not sure, but I think they're doing contract brewing in some other places right now. Because
Okay.
not sure about that.
Just not Hong Kong. So you
Just
like
not
Vietnam
Hong
or
Kong
something. Okay. Oh yeah. No, I don't know. But I must admit, it's a bit ballsy creating a place in an industrial center on the island.
in Hong Kong.
It's
It's
very
tough.
ballsy,
Yeah.
very ballsy.
Yes.
Like I would have expected something like this at least further north, where land is a lot cheaper too, and also you might have more space.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I don't-
mean, in Hong Kong,
Yeah.
space is limited.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It's just tough to do manufacturing in Hong Kong
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, but we've been trying.
What's the
We'll see.
volume like? I mean, when you're pushing out volume, I suppose. Yeah.
We now for each run
Yeah.
each run we produce around 250 to 300 bottles.
Okay. Okay.
around that, but you know, we haven't been fully utilized the whole thing yet. But yeah, because of the demand and you know pandemic and everything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you get many sales coming through the website, or is it mainly through?
Websites we have a bit, but mainly right now we're going through retailers.
Okay.
Yeah, because you know website is quite a hurdle to you know
Sure.
going up to www.nipdistilling.com is just difficult to you know get people go onto that site. So
Okay.
right now we have I would say 50-60 sales points. So we've been working with different retailers because of the pandemic, and then later on hopefully there will be more retailers going on board, and then when bars and restaurants and hotels reopen again.
Have they not already reopened though?
I mean, yeah, it's
You
like
mean-
fully operational.
okay,
I'll
okay.
say,
Where
put it that
customers
way, yeah.
are not feeling
Yeah, you want
as
more?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Yes.
Actually, I really like this. I'm going. Can I buy gin from you here, or do I have to? Are we breaking laws or something? We don't talk about it on camera.
Come on, we're giving you a bottle, all right?
Ah,
For sampling.
Good. all right.
Sorry, just keep it low, all right? keep it low. But order here.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I still think it's a good idea that you guys go into mainland China though.
We'll see.
The-
We'll see where the opportunity
Yeah,
comes.
because of the Baijiu connection. You know, like I think a number of more and more affluent mainland Chinese
Yeah, and
who are familiar with Baijiu. This isn't that far a stretch, and it's a lot more cultured, in my opinion. It's a lot more refined. For me, Baijiu is much like drinking paint stripper. It's really, it's rough. But mind you, I don't know if there's very good ones or not. I mean, is there?
I mean, that might be an angle, but we'll see. Because it's just a different game.
Yeah.
What happened in China. So you have to spend a lot of resources in
Yeah.
order to get people to know about the brand
Yeah.
and the product.
But this is your domain, isn't it?
It is, but resources wise, it's,
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
it's a
Yeah.
thing. It's
Yeah.
not just my domain. Then I have all the resources.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. If we have a distributor, we might do it. But at the moment, we'll just trying to build a better foundation for ourselves. Make sure the product is good. Make sure the brand is
Yeah.
being known in Hong Kong first, and then maybe Asia, maybe China. We'll see where the opportunities come.
What about the UK? Because there's already
I mean, they have a lot of distilleries in UK and
No,
States already.
I know, but I mean,
But if they're looking for Oriental flavors,
that's exactly what I mean.
Asian twist kind of stuff.
That's exactly
then,
what I
yeah,
mean.
we might go there too. But
Yeah.
again, we'll see where the opportunities come.
Chinatown in London. That might be an
Chinatown in London.
interesting little thing.
Never been to. When I go to London, I never go to Chinatown. Why would I want to go to Chinatown?
It's terrible.
Man?
What I've noticed about Chinatowns all over the world, every Chinatown I've been to have been absolutely terrible. The food is terrible. It's like you guys
I know. You're in Hong Kong right now. You don't have to be. You don't have to go to Chinatown.
No, we
anymore.
don't.
It's
No.
You get the best food.
Yeah.
here.
But mind you, when you are in another country, you don't really want to go to a Chinatown. You'd rather go to whatever the local stuff is doing over there. Yeah.
Why would we want to go to Chinatown?
Yeah. Amsterdam, that was a quite nice one. Mind you, Amsterdam, they had a nice little restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, which was actually pretty good. I enjoyed that. I forgot the name though.
I love Amsterdam, but I won't go to Chinese restaurant.
Yeah,
in Amsterdam
sure,
anyway.
sure. So have you been to a number of places in Europe?
Yeah. I went to Smith before. I mean, there was in London, and they use Christian cow still as well. So Populous Sipsmith,
Sorry,
Kenobi.
they used Christian what?
Christian Cow, the still manufacturer.
Oh,
so
okay,
they use
okay.
the same still,
Right.
but of course every still is customized. So this one is for Hong Kong, this one is for N.I.P distilling.
Right.
So this is for N.I.P gin, and they are using another Christian Cow still. So Christian Cow is the still manufacturer.
So is he like could one say like the world's top tier
I mean,
manufacturer of stills, right?
They're the first one, the first distillery, craft gin distillery in London. So, yeah, I'm not sure whether they, this is very subjective for being called the best or whatever it is, but they're very well known.
Well known, okay. Well known is a better word then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then okay, so you've not met this Carl guy, the manufacturer of this still, but who else would you have approached maybe?
Still?
Yeah, are there? Yeah.
We actually emailed a few, but I mean at the end of the day we picked Christian Cow because our favorite gin brands use Christian Cow as well. That's why. I mean, yeah, but some of those are very reluctant to work to be in business with China or Hong Kong.
Why?
Because they've never been in business with Hong Kong.
Oh, I
people
see.
From Hong Kong.
Oh, I
so
see.
they worry about being copied or you don't know the intention behind getting a still.
Oh, okay.
So that's the issue sometimes.
So how did you placate them? How did you make them
No,
feel
we
at ease?
just tell them what we're trying to do, and then I mean, a few more emails explains everything.
Oh, okay. So maybe there might have been a little hesitancy, and they're
Yeah,
like, oh, okay, yeah.
they do.
And you're like, guys, trust me, we really love gin.
Yeah.
We really want to make gin.
Really love gin. And then when we went to the workshop in the States to talk to that guy. So I think Nick met the guy who worked on this project, who also worked for Kyoto Distillery as well. So it's the same project manager.
Oh, okay.
So we love Kyoto Distillery. I personally love Kyoto Distillery.
What do they make?
Gin.
Yeah, but what's the name? What's the name of that gin?
Kenobi gin.
Oh, just straight Kenobi. So
Kenobi
and they
gin.
named the gin after the distillery.
Yeah.
I've never tasted that before.
That's good.
I've never had that before.
They've been selling.
Can I get that here in Hong Kong easily?
Yeah,
Okay.
easily.
Okay.
I think they won the gin producer of the year.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, they did. Right after Kenobi won gin producer of the year, it's Populous 2 years in a row.
Oh, they won 2 years in a row. Okay.
And they all use Christian Cow still.
That's so.
It's good stuff. Good stuff.
So like, you're probably hoping for you to win the next. What gin award was this?
No. We aim high, but we stay lean and move quick. That's the idea.
No, but I mean, like, what is the name of this competition that you?
IWSC.
IWSC.
Yeah, International Wine and Spirit Competition. So
Okay.
we score a silver 91
So you've already participated in this competition.
And then we score 91 points on our gin with the silver medal.
How are these gins ranked or pointed or scored?
They blind tasted it and then they give a score on that one and then.
Yeah. But okay. So how do you give a score? Okay. My point is like.
Hey Judge.
Judge
Law. Hey Judge.
Hey Judge. Yeah. Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd.
So essentially what happens is, while I was fixing my drink, what happens is they do blind tastings, usually.
Yeah.
They judge on the color of the drink. Obviously with spirits it has to be clear, it can't be like yellowish or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if there's any sort of like hint of
of any color,
impurity,
yeah, exactly. That's not good.
you're out.
Yeah, and then there's the nosing,
Mm-hmm.
and there's the taste, and there's the overall profile structure,
Mm-hmm.
and all sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
They give you a couple of different criteria, and then you rank, I guess, based on one scale of maybe 10 over 5 or 6 categories. Then,
Right.
then you kind of rank how good you think their spirit is. Obviously, the taste, the complexity, everything, structure, clarity, that kind of thing for gins in particular, those matter. And they usually invite different judges from different areas So there will be consumer judges. There will be like, more industry people. There are some competitions that invite consumers, from people from the consumer circle, not just any consumer, but like, I guess they are more on the bar side. Some are the more sophisticated, I guess the educated. Some, I guess, probably some even invite the retailers, or some invite industry people, connoisseurs, that kind of thing, to give their points and judgment. And some do discussion, some don't. Like some average out,
Mm-hmm.
And then they will rank the spirit based on that.
So for a first time participation, 91 out of 100 sounds like a bloody good score.
It's alright. We're quite happy with it. I mean, we got a few other awards as well.
It's
Actually.
just like, that's alright. I kind of, we were aiming.
No, we
like
were. I was like, yeah, nah, it's such a
91.
bad score.
That's okay. In Hong Kong, we were the only one that scored 91, so
that's
sorry.
That was his saying.
That was us. Still was us.
His saying, not me.
I'm sorry. I'm drinking a little bit.
That's all right.
Bastard.
Yeah, I think we're already on our second one, and I'm on my third one. He's barely even touched it.
I'm drinking something else. I was fixing my drink until I got.
Don't worry, you don't need to. Like, there's a bottle of gin right there.
Let's drink a little bit. More,
Okay, so when did you participate in that competition?
You can talk about the other awards as well.
Well, let's go through it slowly. I mean, we can go through these things.
We still have like a little bit of time, I think.
Yeah.
The IWC was announced.
No, I mean, we can kill it if you want. We can kill it, but there's still some good.
Not killing it. I'm saying like you have to drag it, but we can talk and read.
Yeah, right. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
It's like,
No, but the thing is that there might be quite a group of maybe gin enthusiasts who would love to hear the story and to hear every sort of aspect of it, and this is the interesting thing about these what I call them indabas. Indaba is a Zulu word for like a meeting. Like you can have an indaba with somebody. You have a discussion with somebody. Typically, it's where a number of people come together. And well, I believe it needs to be a South African thing. As I'm from South Africa, this is where the connection comes in, right? And yeah, I mean, like I've got a bit of a porridge mind in the sense that a lot of my ideas sort of bubble up like bubbles in porridge, and this is a bit of an outlet for me. So instead of like obsessing about distilleries, what I'll do is I'll just come and interview you guys and then ask as many questions as I possibly can, and to get to understand it better. Now, but tell us about this drink, Nick. This is an interesting combination, and I said to you before, I think you should bottle that.
Yeah. So what I'm drinking here.
This is a cocktail.
While these guys are drinking straight gin, which is absolutely. You can kill the bottle easy. See, I'm the weak link.
You're the weak link in the sense that you don't do neat that much.
No, I do a lot of neat, but today I'm really thirsty, so I'm going for a little bit more something more refreshing.
Right.
So what we did here is actually a cocktail or. A little bit of a twist on a gin and tonic, let's put it that way. So we did a bit of an infusion with some tea leaves and lemon, and created a cocktail based on an infused gin plus tonic. So it's a gin and tonic, but a little bit of a twist in terms of the tea leaves and the lemon. So the idea behind this thing is actually more of it's close to a lemon tea. Of Hong Kong, from the what do you call Chinatown?
You know Chinatown?
Oh yeah, sure. I like to go to Chinatown.
Right? So it's inspired by this particular recipe, and then we made it taste a little bit like that particular. So Chinatown's Dongling Cha is how we call it, right?
Dongling Cha.
So it's very refreshing. It's very easy to drink. It's very dangerous because
It's too easy to drink.
It's too easy to drink. Yeah. That's what happened to me on Tuesday. Those things.
Really?
Those things
Were
got
you drunk?
me.
Were you
Well,
tipsy?
no, I was well tipsy. I was well tipsy. Like I walked out of there. I'm like, okay, those guys are solid guys.
And you're like,
Yeah.
what a
You
beautiful
were
Beautiful world. I'm feeling the
everything
gin.
just looked perfect to me.
No, it was good. It was good. Okay, and then so back into the competitions. Okay, so you want to approach this thing by making the best damn gin you can possibly make, then go put it through the competitions. Is that right? That's one way, right? You know what?
So far, like
You can see my inhibition is starting to drop now. It's like now I don't sort of.
Giving you.
He's
Now
going for it.
I just politely put the glass in front of you. The implications are
Yeah.
clear.
Of course.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, when we participated in the competition, obviously, like gin is a very personal beverage, right? So it's a very, very personal spirit. And when
Why is it more personal than any other spirit?
Oh, I think every spirit is also very personal.
Okay.
But gin more so because when you make gin, there are so many different ways to making gin. There are less set frameworks in a particular gin, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are so many flavors.
You mean because of the more
Yeah.
creativity, you can do more
Absolutely.
botanicals, etc.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
When
okay.
you talk about whiskey, you talk
Yeah.
about certain structures. You know, certain frameworks that you definitely have to hit when you make a whiskey. But then gin, you can work with so many different things. You can be very creative. It could work, it could not work, but it's also personal in the sense that everyone has a different opinion of this particular flavor. So when we entered it, we didn't think it was. I mean, like we like the gin. Is it the best gin we've ever had? You know, if people think that, definitely we'll be very happy. But then we have to be realistic here as well. I think it's a solid gin. At the same time, we have also been looking for feedbacks, refining the recipe the way we can. It's something that we like. We drink it day in, day out. But is it
Now you're making yourself sound like real alkies.
what? A real what?
Drinking it day in, day out kind of thing.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Because I got guys like you every day. No, I'm just kidding. Like, obviously, we do tours, we do business meetings. We have to taste it with the guests as well.
That's what you tell your wife.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't have one, so.
Oh yeah, all right. Your girlfriend then. Keep going, and then.
And then as we created our recipe, we wanted sort of feedback also from the more professionals, from the awards and everything.
How long did it take you guys to sort of come to this? Because I should imagine 100, 200, 300 runs on this.
Well, it took us quite a bit of time. We had to understand firstly, obviously, different kind of botanicals, how they would behave, how the characters of different botanicals.
Are you still evolving it?
Well, we think it's close to pretty much final.
This recipe is pretty much fixed. We
It's a
might
good one.
adjust a little bit of distillation technique, but the recipe is.
What does that
fixed.
mean? How do you?
I mean, maybe
timing, temperature, adjustment, that kind of thing. We can refine it somewhat somehow.
Okay.
So it's just a little, bit of fine tuning. It just stays a little bit.
Sure.
But in terms of the recipe proportion of botanicals, that's fixed.
It's fixed.
When we started, I think there was a little bit of fixing to do as well as we gather more comments. It has become a little bit more solid, more complex, and more depth. We added a little bit more depth to it.
What do you mean, like you added a little bit more depth? How does that translate into my world of understanding?
So, in terms of different flavors, in terms of creating a gin, obviously you have to think. The way I think about it, I don't say that it's the only way of thinking about it. The way I think about it is obviously there's an array of different flavors.
Okay.
What I wanted to create is something on the more complex side of things. When you drink it, you can have a little bit of what it's supposed to taste like, and then it opens up into a different profile, and then it ends on something that we want to be long-lasting. So for us, the end part is the tea, the first part is the gin with the berries. So what do we add in between? So for us, we added some sort of the fruitiness, the citrus and everything inside. You feel there wasn't so many seed. That's correct because we added the star anise to bolster some sort of to give a bit of a kick to it, right? The first recipe we made was probably heavier on the front side, so it was a little bit more floral.
Too much juniper.
Floral and juniper.
Okay.
But the end, the tea or the heavier oils, which comes from, I guess, you're right in saying the star anise, that kind of thing. We actually added more star anise to the recipe because it adds to the heavier stuff at the end. It creates a bit more sweetness. It creates a little bit more of the oily mouthfeel. Also, it gives the heavier oils and the warm taste at the end. So as you breathe out, you see the warm spices. There's the ginger, there's the Asian peel slowly coming up. So at the start of talking about experimenting with the recipe, those notes weren't coming out as much. So we got the top part, which was okay. But it's quickly dying down, so it floats off. So
and you want to make it persist a little longer.
Yeah, exactly. We want to make it more lingering. So you have to add something, nicely. Right? When you add something, what do you add? So obviously, when you look into the botanical, your vocab, what can provide heavy oils? What can provide a particular type of flavor? That also requires understanding of different kinds of botanical things themselves, right? Of course, if there were really strong chemists in the house, they can tell you, you can derive this particular compound from this particular botanical, and to bolster this particular flavor. But we're not chemists.
So you'd need to trial and error.
We have to do more trials and error. Obviously, we do a lot of reading.
Okay,
as
form
well.
the structure.
But a lot of trial and error would be involved in terms of finding the right way to get the gin over the line, to at least through our line, something that's acceptable to both of us first, and then we let the public speak a little bit more.
Well, then you get your circle of friends, right?
Different friends,
and then
bartenders, industry people,
awards,
and then awards. Awards is another way to gather feedback. So far, we've been getting pretty, I would say, lucky to get some pretty good feedback. So IWC was 91 for a silver, but we got some. We were getting feedback from different places around regions around the world as well. So the US, there was a SIP award. We got a double gold for that. Yeah.
That sounds.
Yeah.
What's wrong with the gold?
Gold, double gold.
There you go.
So
What?
A little bit better than gold.
Don't tell me. Wait. At what point what point does it become like a participation trophy? Do you see what I mean? It's been you've already inflated the value of all of the. What is double? Do you get a triple gold?
No.
Okay, so that means you got the top level of an award. Is that right?
In that particular competition, I think there was one level further up.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a trophy.
So that would be like a silver. So double gold is a silver, or second place.
Not really. I mean, they have double gold, they have gold, they have silver, they have bronze, but there's one that might be it's like the trophy. The trophy is there's only one brand that get the trophy.
Okay.
The other, goes into the double gold thing.
Okay. Well, all right. Okay.
So that's like the winner of that.
Category.
Winner of that category.
Okay.
So let's
you guys
just pick one of those from the
Yeah.
double gold.
And then there was a competition in China, which was the CWSA, the China Wine and Spirits Awards. That we got the highest category, which is the gold. And there was a drinks business Asia, which is a more Asia region kind of a competition as well. We got a gold in that as well. So all in all, the feedback has been quite okay.
So you guys are pulling in. You guys are pulling in.
It's something that we like. We think that this gin is nice to our palate. We also want to see the feedback from, I guess, different people around different regions, right? So that helps us develop as a brand as well, not just like.
But as an uneducated, barbarian. Now I know that I got a good sort of taste palate because when I was in Scotland I entered some sort of competition and they had like a tasting competition where you were presented with things that you would smell and you'd have to isolate. You'd have to write down what it is, and I won that. I won that. So I think there's an element of super taster, super smeller going on here. But I don't know, and I spoke to Janice about this, and she said it's not enough. And she went on to expand and saying, you really need to be able to explain it. Like, you have to translate those sensations that you're getting into real world
Of course.
knowledge. And like I can taste this, and I can, it's like it's an explosion of tastes in my mouth. And I can, when you put the words to it, it's like, yes, that's exactly what's happening to me. I can feel it. But I don't see how I can give you feedback on this. But maybe I'm not the person to give you feedback.
No.
I would be the.
It's no. I don't think it's a requirement. Obviously, if you're really looking at this, or if you're in industry, you'll be more acclaimed to certain vocabularies, certain things that you commonly come in touch with in terms of taste, nosing, all sorts of things, right? But for an everyday drinker, it's definitely not something that you would focus on. Some people like to learn more about it. Some people have a taste of it. They know what's going on, but they don't know how to explain it. That's exactly the way, right? So part of our jobs is we know what sort of a good or what sort of palates that we prefer. Or what sort of tastes we experience, and we experience in our own way. And it's not even like there's no standard template to it. There's no standard of right or wrong even, because my chocolate could be your
nightmare.
mint.
Oh,
Let's put it
yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
We
Well,
all
that's
have
really pushing
have different vocabs. We all have different sensory. There is good or bad in terms of detecting something or not detecting something. There's also a very good vocabulary of linking certain things to something, but a top, I guess, a connoisseur or even one of those sommeliers, they may have even
One of those
ones,
what?
sommelier, the wine.
Okay.
Guys.
The wine pairing.
Oh, right.
The
Oh, those guys.
sommeliers.
That's,
Yeah.
they
They may have, even the top guys may have a different way of explaining the same drink,
Okay.
right?
I really wonder
So
how
it's
much.
more on your own interpretation.
Yeah.
So their interpretation, they would think, maybe you detect certain notes of certain compounds or substances inside, acidic-wise.
So why don't you guys formalize a language to explain this instead of coming up? Oh,
no,
yeah,
it's
there's
actually
chocolatey
impossible
and
to do that because a very, very interesting experience, right? So we went to the Belveny, right? One of the most famous scotches around in Scotland. We had a 43-year-old whiskey. Pretty amazing.
That story, yeah.
Yeah,
that would have
That's so nice.
melted my heart.
That's the best.
Is it really?
Yeah, I mean, like
43-year. Oh, good God.
So when you talk about that, right, you can talk. Obviously have the science to talk about it. The cask, what the cask can produce in terms of flavor, you know, the caramel, that blah blah blah. But he said one word. The guy who was introducing us that particular 40-something-year-old whiskey. He said one word. This whiskey, think about it. Does it taste like burnt pineapple? And then we were like, holy shit! Oh my
Tastes
God.
like burnt pineapple.
Yeah.
God damn it.
It's so
Does
funny.
it taste like a
It's
pink elephant?
crazy. It's crazy, right? So imagine that when you talk about whiskey.
Okay. All right.
I mean, it's not pineapple. You can't even possibly think of anything like a fruit coming into
Right.
that barrel.
Yeah.
But when all things gather together, you can obviously say theoretically this substance should be inside. You should taste this, and this. But when things meddle together, they're kind of combined. Everything when things combine together, it's a personal interpretation. Right, this guy obviously when he probably would be surprised when he first tried it. Now, this to me sounds like it tastes like burnt pineapple. But when you say that, and other people may catch on because you kind of link what you think to your taste buds as well. That's why molecular is so mind bending and everything, because I'm expecting this when I'm tasting this.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, so. there's no particular language. It's really about who's tasting it and what you feel about it, right? And that doesn't apply to everyone. So you taste something, I taste the same thing. It may completely be, maybe a complete different thing.
I suppose
That's
it's like
exactly
colours,
why.
right? Like some people are just are colourblind.
Yeah.
They just don't see certain
and that's why when
spectrums.
we say it's a personal thing, it is really personal. Every single spirit, some people say the cheaper, the more expensive, it's better, but it's not necessarily so. So it also depends on who's tasting what. Yeah. So there's no particular language. We can give you we can give you like certain taste profiles to discover. I mean, like citrus wise or earthy wise, woody, like that kind of thing. There's a lot of different vocabs you can use, but at the end of the day, it's for you to imagine or to taste and imagine what that tastes to you. There's no right or wrong answer, for sure. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you do have your basic framework. For example, if you were to take oak slats and let it sit inside the gin, it would be coloured. It would be coloured. So
of course. That would be that. But then in terms of tasting and nosing, your floral may be my, spicy.
Yeah. Okay.
It could be something like something closer to that, right? It's like maybe, your herbal may be my earthy kind of thing. It's different people have different kind of interpretation.
So okay, you've been to like maybe 4, 5 competitions now.
Yeah.
Right now?
And
around?
5.
5.
I mean, there are results that are still not out yet. So.
number 5 is results
5 and
need
6.
to 5 and 6. So you're just going to keep hitting the competitions as much as possible until
we want to get feedback, so that's why we're entering competition and see what.
Okay. All right. And because the feedback so far is pretty standard and you're getting pretty high level ranking, that's why you guys are pretty confident on that this is going to be your first sort of cemented or recipe that's going to this is going to be your first one.
I think so far the feedback has been good. If anything, we may tweak a little bit this and there, but we're not going to depart too much from it.
But don't you have a bit of an R&D going in the background on something else that you want to come up with?
Of course. I mean, this is the first more core range, I would say, more neutral profile that we are working on, or we have been working on.
Neutral. Okay, so it's a rare dried gin kind of thing.
So it's a little bit more balanced. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
On every front.
Right.
It's not too spicy. It's not too floral. It's not too If we want to do something a little bit more like smack in the face, we can do that too. And we may be looking to do some sort of more special issues going forward, whether it be limited editions or just a different line of profile, or we may focus on certain things. Like if we want to focus on citrus, that's something that we want to play with. And or that's something else we want to do. So that's all in the pipeline. I mean, so far we have been doing this for we have only launched for 9 months, 10 coming, but it's still a relatively short time to get one flavor out in the market and say, hey, the next time someone drinks this, I recognize this taste. And by that time we will have things in the pocket and we'll be like different portfolio.
How do I participate in this?
You're not going to.
Oh, rejection straight away. Wow, that's blunt. That's blunt. I would usually say
there was a
that face. You're not going to.
Well, it was well handled though. It was straight up well handled. Like really.
I would have said, maybe we'll think
that this time. Bam!
No. The gate shut.
No, I think it's fantastic. It's just wonderful.
You are participating in this because you're drinking it.
No, I know.
Talking about it.
No, but it's a creation process, man. It's the creation process. Sure, I mean, there's a little bit of feedback, but okay, the artist side of me is like saying, there is a world that can be created there. There is a world of flavors and things that can be like influenced maybe I can. if you invite me around, your select group of friends, like if it passes your palate, and I'm in that first circle of friends, like okay, come on.
All right.
He's empty.
Oh, there we go.
Oh wow.
This is good. I was thinking maybe you guys should come to the man cave on the cheers. On the 29th or 30th. I think there's a good crowd there. There's a good crowd. I think they would well appreciate your gin. Maybe you could ask them more. But the thing is that you probably get so many people that want to drink your stuff, and
That'd be good. I mean, I wouldn't mind that.
all right, good. Coming around then. We also smoke cigars. So do you guys smoke?
He smokes. I don't.
You smoke cigars?
No.
No, I'm sorry. He doesn't.
He doesn't smoke. Oh, it's on camera, right?
No, it's like no one is smoking here.
No one smokes.
We're not allowed to smoke. No smoking.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, definitely. What the hell, people? Jesus
What question
Christ.
is that?
Fuck's sake.
Hate smoking.
No.
Come on, guys.
Sorry, too much.
No, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Yeah, if I think about this gin, there's not much I could comment on this. I wouldn't even know what to say. To say, oh, I would like to get something of that to go increase. I wouldn't even know how to say that. I wouldn't even know how to do that. So it's like this.
Do you enjoy it? That's the most important point.
Oh, I really do, actually. I really do. And I like it more than Hendrix.
Oh, yeah?
On number 3, the Indaba number 3, Lester Lim, who's he's a well-connected fellow within the computer security industry out here in Hong Kong. He rocked up at the Indaba with this I forgot, it was Evil Genius t-shirt. Make no mistake. Probably an evil genius is the right way, an apt way to describe this fellow. But he rocked up with these really great Cuban cigars.
Oh.
And a bottle of Hendrix.
Jesus.
I think I need to introduce Lester to N.I.P. I think, it's going to
Please
be
do.
good.
I mean, whether it be here, whether it be elsewhere.
And it was a fantastic Indaba that we had. We got well toasted on Hendrix and the Cubans. So but that's also what we have at the man cave kind of thing. A group of us sort of get together, we smoke cigars,
That's great.
booze, and
I don't do that. I don't do that often nowadays because
you're surrounded by booze or what?
No, it's not just that. It's just I don't really have time out of work. So this has.
So what's your typical day? What is it like running? Excuse me, that went down the wrong way. I shouldn't.
Too quick, man.
No, I didn't want to swallow it because I wanted to savor it, but I also know I need to get the question out, right?
Wrong pipe.
I know. Went down the wrong way.
Wow.
So what's it like running a distillery? There's other than just making it.
It's just the two of us, right? So it's quite a lot of work for the two of us actually.
You guys have known each other 20 years now, so
yeah. But in terms of working style, we are very different, right? So it took a bit of time to gel as well. Obviously, production is one thing. It takes a day and a half.
So who's mainly responsible for what round here?
We mix roles. We kind of do everything. I started off doing the more technical stuff, I guess. Productions, legal work, admin work even. Sometimes even accounting. I do. Now I've moved a little bit more onto. I'm learning photoshopping in order to be able to do that kind of marketing stuff. Yeah. So that we don't have to rely on people all the time.
Which you are currently or previously?
A lot of different aspects, right? We both have to do sales as well. He's probably more well equipped on the retail side. I'm more equipped on the bar side.
I've noticed. Where did you get those skills, dude? You got some porn star skills going on there with the behind the bar.
No, just friends. I have a lot of bar friends. That's
okay.
Okay. I learned a lot from them. Quite grateful that they've included me in the group and bring me everywhere as well to learn and learning the bartending skills as well. That's something that's I'm also passionate about, so I've been doing that for a while now.
That's
So
mixology, is that right?
Yeah, mixology. Like a bit of every part of the operation I do. He does a little bit more on the marketing, branding, sales side. But in anything, I think
He's just telling me, Jeremy. He's just telling me like how shit it is to work with you, and like,
Wow,
you know,
really?
like on a consistent manner, you keep dropping the ball.
Wow.
The guy fucked me. He was like, no. So I was like, okay, all right, okay, let's play this game. Let's play this game.
Wow.
No. He was just talking about like sort of like what it feels like to.
No, it's in terms of role. Like,
Yeah.
How we
Running a distillery.
how we
basically.
mix roles. We can't
Yeah.
do everything. Whenever
Yeah.
there's something that's sitting there, we have to do. Whoever it is. I think there are particular skills that we. Well, he's good at something. I'm good at something.
Yeah.
But it's not just that we're focusing on the things that we're good at. If there's something that we're both not good at, we still have to do it.
Yeah, sure.
It's more initiative, proactively learning. It's a constant learning curve as well. Something that we haven't touched on before, something that we don't even have any idea about before. We do our own studies and all that stuff.
Okay.
Like, for example, I said I'm learning Photoshop now.
Yeah.
Jesus, I would have never thought about learning that thing.
But you should know Photoshop, right?
I don't.
No, you don't.
I don't do anything actually. I'll just drink. It's a small team, so.
Oh, no wonder you don't want me involved, because that's your role.
Of course, man.
I would be competition to you.
No.
The drinker.
The drinker.
Believe me.
You can't beat him.
Oh, right, okay.
No. I like to get.
I think it's a small team, so we just stay lean, move quick, and then we do whatever it has to be done. So it's just very hard to say, okay, you do this, I do that. When
You don't allocate responsibility. You just go and do things.
We do have something.
So instead of talking about the roles, I'm talking about like what's the intricacies of running a distillery. I mean, you've got your sales, your production of the goods. Because I know there's entire books on this subject on how to run a distillery.
Well, firstly,
No, there is.
Yeah,
there is.
Absolutely. I mean, like I've read books on that. The setup is the first thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that you have to deal with setting up just from an equipment side, just in terms of how the whole flow of operation has to be, and then obviously making the alcohol is only one thing. The most important is to know how to sell. That we had to learn ourselves as well. I mean,
So how do you go about that? Do you go to bars and sort of like make friends with people?
Unfortunately, this particular period of time, the bars and restaurants and hotels weren't that active.
Yeah.
So but at the same time, we were lucky in that it's a new project, it's a new concept in Hong Kong. So people were approaching us, especially from the retail side of things. People are looking for new products to drink at home. So we were we're doing okay on that space. We're surviving from that. But we are looking forward to working with different bars, restaurants, and hotels, and collaborations and getting the brand even further out there. That's when the operation really, really, really kickstarts. Obviously,
then that still might not be enough for you, eh?
That requires.
We hope.
Yeah, that's a good problem to have.
Later on. Not at this moment, but we're trying. Expand the market.
And that requires a lot of going to bars and talking to friends. I mean, we have our initial connections, but obviously we have to slowly build up more and more different touch points.
Yeah.
Contacts and everything.
It's like everything is interconnected. Whether sales go first or mine go first, or doing business development, it has to be happening all together in order to get the thing moving. So we're just trying to do a bit of everything right now, just to make sure the ball is rolling.
How did you come up with the money for this whole setup? Because I mean, it's non-trivial. I mean, given the rents and whatnot with here in Hong Kong, savings. So it was like a good 10 years of savings that you both sort of put money into.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah, I have nothing now. Literally.
Dude, I know that feeling. You put your entire money into something. Yeah, you got to make it work.
No, I mean like
There is no other choice.
So we have to.
There is no try. There is no try. There is only do.
You only have one bullet. You
Yeah.
have to make
Yeah. Assassinate
headshot.
that. That's right. Yeah. It's a headshot. It's a headshot.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, that's why. And one of the reasons why I wanted to meet you guys. I was like, these two have got fucking cojones. Like Jesus Christ. Holy shit.
there's nothing in there
There's nothing what?
in that glass.
No, there is a little bit. Oh, go on then. This is fantastic. This is fantastic. Yeah, I think if you guys have got enough runway to be able to get you past this fucking coronavirus shit, I think you guys are gonna be slamming it. This is a great gin. This is a great gin.
Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, fingers crossed and touch wood, and hopefully things do get back to normal and we can start,
Yep.
Slamming it.
get
Yep.
the party started, eh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Man, come on. Should we wrap it up here?
Yeah.
Sure.
We've been rocking around quite nicely. Okay, so, yeah.
How do we do it?
No. I'm actually noticing that I'm actually pretty drunk.
I know. Okay. It's like,
Just wait.
You guys drank this much.
I'm like, okay, hello.
You guys drank this much.
Oh, did we? That's the two of us, eh? That's the two of us.
Bro, I've been drinking this.
I've been drinking this.
Yeah. Cheers, buddy.
I drank this
Cheers.
too.
To nip.
Hey, don't.
Yeah. And
No. You know how we should end this?
how?
down this shit.
With a shot.
Are you kidding me? No, but okay.
No. I'll give you.
Can we just
The
sip
second.
it? Are you actually gonna get shot
Okay,
glasses?
we have.
Oh,
we do.
for
We
fuck's
do.
sake.
Sorry.
I am going to be
Is it
crawling home.
appropriate to do this on?
Why not? Of course, why not?
This is water we are drinking.
This is
so-
what. Oh man. Okay, thank you, sir.
For those who think you cannot shoot gin, this is an exception.
Oh,
You can
shit.
shoot gin with this N.I.P.
Dude, it's gonna be rough.
Nah,
It's gonna be rough.
It's
Here
not
we
gonna be
go,
rough,
here we
man.
go.
Trust
Oh,
me.
isn't it?
Trust me, it's gonna be
That's
okay.
a wrap.
No. Well, yeah, that's a wrap. There
Oh,
we
man,
go.
thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Thanks
for
for
having
having
us.
To Nip, and
To
I
NIP.
hope I wish the best success for you guys.
No, thank you.
Cheers.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming.
Cheers.
God damn it. Oh, it's good. Come on, it rolls out nicely.
It doesn't feel like a shot either.
No, it doesn't.
I don't.
All right, let's wrap it up. Okay, so that's it. And then what I'm gonna do?
That's it.
No, wait. What I'm gonna do is I need to do that.
Woo! I love this.
All right.
Okay. I want this.
We're done,
We're
So
done. Yes.
This is great. I love it.
buddy. I am fucking toasted.